All right, so when last we left the USS Argo, you guys had just warped into the 53 Aquarii system, where you had been tasked with transporting an ambassador to act as a mediator between an ongoing war between two warp-capable cultures. So with that, we'll warp back here. And as you warped in, you were confronted by a wing of Incalian fighters that ordered you to clear out of the area, and then suddenly a small squadron of Shenalian vessels warped in, and now both sides seem intent on engaging one another, and you are right in the middle of them.
You didn't change maps, or you didn't bring us to the new map. There.
Sorry about that.
Raise shields.
Sure. So,
Put me in touch with the lead ship.
open a channel, please.
Yes, Captain.
Which ship are you trying to contact?
Both of them.
Okay.
Contact the lead ship, I think.
Yeah, both of them. Lead ship of both of them.
Okie dokie.
We're three-way calling this thing.
It's been done.
That's high tech.
No, it's been done.
What? Not even the Enterprise D had this technology.
Yes, it did.
Okay, where is my...
These alien ships are concerning.
Okay, so go to Theater of the Mind. Get rid of these guys. And on screen, see from the Incalian side, and then from the Shenalian side. Kind of ignore the names underneath. I'm grabbing tokens for characters you'll meet later. The Incalian, which is kind of the lizardish looking guy, is like, clear the area. And the humanoid looking says we have no interest in harming you, but if you do not clear the area, we cannot be responsible for your safety.
I am Captain Vogel of the USS Aurora. I am here for the peace talks. I have Ambassador Tarayan. Please stand down. Let us resume negotiations.
And the screen goes blank, but
Who's our comm officer?
all of the ships, you see all the ships slow, although they're holding positions and their shields and weapons are still active, they are no longer moving at what you would consider to be engagement velocities.
Lieutenant Merrick, are they still? Is the channel still open
Channel's been cut from their side.
from their side? But
Let's bring the ambassador up here.
I, Captain.
I think we've been able to curb this aggression for now, but it could start up at any moment.
I'll see to it myself, Captain.
Send a message to the fleet saying, please return back to their home planet except for the Legion. Let's try to get as many people out of this situation as possible.
So at this point, the two commanders again appear on your view screen. The Incalian speaks first. We have received instructions from our government. You are clear to proceed into the system to rendezvous at Peace Rock. We are standing down. The Shenalian says, I too have received instructions from my government. We would be more than willing to provide you with an escort to prevent any sort of unforeseen events. And he kind of sneers, like he's just obviously talking about the Incalians.
Escorts would be most welcome. I request a ship from each world to accompany us to Peace Rock.
Peace Rock, how appropriate.
The Incalian goes, negative, Aurora. My orders do not permit me to leave this sector. Good luck. And the Incalian pops off the screen.
Captain, if I may, us showing up with only one half of the two conflicting species might show some favoritism.
I think you might have a point, Commander. Now I gotta find the names of these species.
Perhaps see if they, even if the lead ship were unable to accompany, see if they could perhaps spare a small detachment of smaller ships, equal firepower.
That's kind of what I suggested. One said they can't leave the sector.
Captain, you requested my presence, says Ambassador Tarai as she enters the bridge.
Yes, Ambassador. It looks like these two sides are very eager to resume the fighting. We just had to keep them from opening fire on each.
And she kind of moves forward and looks to the Shenalian on the screen. Put this guy up again. I am Ambassador Tarai of the United Federation of Planets. Am I to understand that hostilities have resumed between your two peoples? No. This was all just a misunderstanding. You must understand tensions are running high here, and two patrols, and those Incalians, you can't trust them. They're nothing but, they've never overcome their predatory instincts. They see one of our ships and they can't help but jump at it. But don't worry, Ambassador, we're happy to see you safely to Peace Rock.
As I suggested, Captain, earlier, Ambassador, us showing up with only one half of the species might constitute favoritism. Come across as favorite.
I concur. She turns to Vogel. I assume, Captain, that the Aurora is more than capable of dealing with any threats we might encounter along the way. So she turns back to the chenille on the screen. I thank you for your gracious offer, but I believe it is best if we proceed to the meeting coordinates unaccompanied, particularly if only one side of the negotiating parties will be available. Very well, Ambassador. Captain, I'll warn you. You see an Incalian ship, don't trust it. Either destroy it on sight or get out of there.
We didn't come here to fight, Ambassador.
And that, he's not the ambassador, he's just a token I've grabbed. I didn't think to grab a
Alright.
couple blankies.
Then,
State otherwise ignore names for them.
Yeah, sorry about that.
whatever their rank name is.
Yeah. Says, ha! With the Incalians, you may not have come to fight, but I'll guarantee you'll wind up fighting. And he clicks off.
I doubt that.
You know,
Already shown to be hostile. We can't trust anything that
I was going to say,
their brother
with
half says.
I was going to say, under all things considered, despite espousing wanting a peaceful resolution, he seemed more itching for, he seemed more inclined to combat than the rest of them.
I have been.
His mannerisms were more defensive than the Incalian.
I have been pouring through their database, at least culturally. The Slayans culture, they are socially aggressive and they do like to display effects of emotion.
Let us proceed with caution, everyone. I'm sure once we arrive at Peace Rock, we'll be able to talk with both sides in greater depth, learn more about them. Something just doesn't add up here.
Our Cap.
Keep in mind, Captain, that these people have been at war almost incessantly for over 500 Earth Standard years. There have been outbreaks of peace, if you will, but the enmity between these two cultures runs deeply. We are unlikely to discover anyone with a truly open frame of mind one way or another, but there does seem to be enough of a desire to end this war that they were willing to call us in. So there are always possibilities. I will retire to my quarters until we arrive at Peace Rock.
Very good, Ambassador. Would you like me to escort you?
Thank you, Commander, but I believe I can find the way.
As you wish.
Take us in.
So, as I put in the notes, the 53 Aquarii system is this huge binary system, and you've basically got two stars that are kind of gravitationally locked, two solar systems that developed different forms of sentient life, but they're all in this one kind of mega system. So, let me make one quick.
Wait, this isn't an Intrepid class ship. Isn't Intrepid class what the Voyager is?
No, well,
Or Columbia class, but
this is the
Stars?
old Intrepid.
Is this the what?
This is the old Intrepid class. Well, we are not an
Columbia
Intrepid
class.
class, but he's looking at the
there
space
is an
trade.
Intrepid class. It's just not what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
What are you seeing Intrepid class at? I'm
On
lost.
space frames down there.
Oh, yeah, there were yeah, those were things that you could choose from. It's an Earth. Well, it started out as an Earth Starfleet ship. It's now the United Federation of Planets ship, but yeah, it was an Intrepid class back in the 22nd century. Showed up in the a couple episodes of Enterprise.
That's not confusing at all. Alright. Sorry.
That was one of the choices for our ship. Ignore those.
Right, so we're Columbia class. That's what you said,
Right.
right? or as it's more popularly known as next class.
Our class's designation is Columbia. We're the new model.
Yeah, you're the what
The one with the
they call,
secondary hull.
yeah, the NX refit.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now we're outside of canon, so you have to temper your information along with it.
Right. Okay.
We are, I believe, past the Romulan War, though.
Yeah, Romulan War ended in 2160. It's now 2165, so you're 5 years past the Romulan War and 4 years into the foundation of the Federation. Okay. These guys.
Come on, guys. We got faith of a heart.
Exactly. Now you're at it.
Oh no.
Oh, Harrison doesn't trust aliens, so he doesn't believe in anything that's going on right now. He doesn't even believe in our chief engineer at the moment.
What, the Andorian?
Ah.
No, the...
Dorian. It's not human.
Yeah.
Harrison doesn't trust him.
In fairness, Andorians were not the best bedfellows not just a few years ago, so...
All right, so you are now approaching Peace Rock. In orbit, you detect 3 vessels.
Let's get scans.
All right, that'd be Osborne. Give me a... Excuse me. Give me... Let's see.
All science.
Reason, actually, control security, difficulty 2, assisted by the ship's sensors, sensor security.
I'll grab ships.
Understood. He taps a couple buttons at his terminal, and I don't think I have a focus here. Come on, ship.
Ooh.
Oh!
Oh, nuts.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So you guys got to keep in mind that our ship is pretty much never going to help us. It's rolling a 9 for sensor security.
But it's very advanced for the era.
I know, but like we're used to next gen era ships that have like 14s, 15s, 16s, and some.
Fine, nothing bad's gonna happen.
We're like flying a shuttlecraft.
Oh God.
Yeah, Max 10.
So, I don't know what the game master is gonna do with that, because, yikes. That is
Complications are
Possible
fun.
to explode in your face.
What was the diff? Was it 1 or 2?
2.
2.
So we didn't even succeed.
Succeed at more cost?
If you want 2 complications on the board.
Let's not.
God.
Uh,
Oh, and if only I had a focus.
put more complications on them, or myself and the engineer are gonna have work to do.
And I feel it might be too early for that determination.
Yeah, I agree.
NCS stands for what? Don't think I've seen that rank before.
Master Chief Specialist.
We're picking up 3 cruiser ships in orbit. 2 of them seem to match general configuration patterns for the Incalian and Shilnean vessels that we encountered earlier. Also picking up a 3rd vessel. It's more advanced, but it doesn't match any... I'm not immediately matching it against any known space frames in our database.
It's possible that could be the security for this event.
Well,
Right.
they haven't they haven't made any aggressive moves against us, so just keep just keep calm for the time being.
Easily be a trap.
The incoming hail.
On screen.
All right. Back on the bridge. Sorry, guys. It's been a while since I've been on this end of Roll20 stuff. A little bit slow. Here we are.
Okay.
And on screen, layer am I on? There we go.
Ryan. Okay.
Hello, I am Captain Vogel of the USS Aurora. Who might I say am I speaking with?
Ah, yes, the Federation vessel. We've been expecting you. My name is Jevi, on-site coordinator for the Sevna Entertainment Cartel. Welcome, Captain.
Thank you.
Please assume a standard orbit. We are asking all party ships to maintain an equidistant position from each other in orbit, just to eliminate any possibility of basic misunderstandings, if you will.
Understood.
A reasonable approach.
XO, please.
Sorry.
Understood. I would like to go over the security arrangements. My chief of security is most interested in the procedures you are using. Perhaps we could use it to shore up some security in our ship as well.
She smiles at you, kind of, kind of this half grin, knowing half grin. She says, "Well, Captain, I'm sure you're not suggesting that there's any reason not to trust our company with the security and safety of your people."
I'm not making any assumptions. My chief of security expressed an interest to learn about how to handle security for a peace talk event like this. It might come up in our immediate future.
I'm sure he has, Captain. I'm sure he has. You forgive me. I'm just teasing you a little bit. I well know the reputation of my people in certain places. I assure you, you will be pleasantly surprised to find that our cartel does things much differently. I will put my chief of security, Dizrock, in contact with your chief of security. I'll send you the codes now. And she kind of, you can see her touching something off screen. Osborne, Merrick, you get a set of communication codes coming up.
Very good. We will maintain orbit until we are ready to resume the peace talk. I look forward to meeting you in person.
As do I, Captain. There is a diplomatic reception for all parties this evening at, I believe your time reference would be 2000. If I've got that right, forgive me, Captain. I have had very little dealings with your Federation and Starfleet. But I'll leave all the security arrangements to your Chief of Security and Mr. Dizrock. I'm sure you'll find everything satisfactory.
Very good. We look forward to it.
And please, if you or your crew or the ambassador needs anything, do not hesitate to contact me. Our job here is to make sure that everything goes smoothly and that all parties involved are as comfortable as possible. We have adjusted the Federation habitats, climate and environmental controls to match Vulcan standard, so the ambassador and her people should be very comfortable. As for the rest of you, I believe you will find the common area the most comfortable. We set up a kind of median environment for all three creatures, which winds up being very similar to what we understand a dry temperate zone of your planet Earth is like. Um, However, we do ask that during negotiations, no none of the species security forces be present. We will be handling security from that end, but all of those arrangements can be worked out with your chief of security. Until then, Captain.
2,000 hours. I got it. Thank you.
Osborne clenches his fist and says, pleasantly surprised.
GM, real quick, I would like to do kind of like an inside check on the Acalians, because you said it was like a dry, temperate climate, and how that might affect them, considering from what you sent me earlier that they're more of an aquatic species. At least they
Okay.
evolved.
So give me, let's see, let's make this Insight Science, difficulty 2. And you can use the ship's computer science.
Chief, did you learn anything else about this cartel?
Let's see. And he pulls up that huge block text. Let me see.
Yeah, they were all combinations of shorter texts I'd sent you all at the end of the last one, and I just jammed them all together.
Yep, I know. Well, the cartel's been around for about 80 years. They were originally a couple of separate mercenary companies that were bought out by one Halvox Vena, a small entertainment dealer. This conglomerate started small, but they gained some notoriety when they saved a monarch on a planet called Urella. That sort of cemented their reputation as capable security forces, and that gave them the leg up they needed to, well, really make a break-in on the business.
Try to contact that world, ensure their reputation. I want to know exactly who we're dealing with here.
That would be a job for Lieutenant Merrick. Perhaps we could work together on that front. I'm rather curious myself.
Head up this project, Chief.
All right. I suppose since we're not allowed, I won't be allowed to be in there for the negotiations. I'll have nothing better to do.
I'm sure I can find a way to get you in, Chief. I don't think we want to go into an unknown situation without our security chief. Maybe we'll just call you something different.
Very well, I leave that matter to your discretion, and he leaves his security terminal and walks around the bridge over towards Lieutenant Merrick so that they can start working together on the contacting Who's What's It? Urella.
Sent you something, Prax.
We're in danger.
Ensign Daly looks back. Should I assume standard orbit as in the manner they requested, sir?
Yes. Match the orbit they request exactly.
Understood. Taking us in now. And she smoothly slots the ship into position.
Well, I kind of did a little quick research for you, Captain, at least on the environment that they're setting up for the negotiations. Let's just say it's going to be rather uncomfortable for everybody.
wonder if this is part of their tactics to make everything a little bit uncomfortable so that they talk quicker.
Or keep things the way they are so they can keep making a profit.
I'd
Just
Wow.
a thought.
If they
rather
are
hope
intentionally
don't-
making people uncomfortable with the environment, who's to say what else they've been doing in order to keep this war going?
Well, it is also technically a middle ground. From the looks of it, I mean, it's not really comfortable for the Achilleans, but it's tolerable. It's a bit too wet for Vulcan theology, but tolerable for them as well as for us. It's a little bit dry for both the Cilians and humans.
Hmm.
I'm sure also over there would love it.
I'd probably be fine with it.
Humid weather, hot and humid for a species that is only cold.
Oh,
Where's
wait,
the-
Mr. Chief, let's see if we can't get that communications going for you.
Agreed. I have some early suspicions, but I won't voice them now.
So yeah, are you trying to contact the Aurelian government?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's in the Federation databases, which have incorporated both the Earth, Vulcan, Tellarite, Andorian, Regilian, the databases from all the new member races. Looks like from the Vulcan database, they had some minimal contact from the Aurelians. Unfortunately, they're not in the current subspace network, so it will take maybe a day or two for the information to get there and turn around, depending on how quickly they answer it.
Well, it'll be a sort of a roundabout way, but if that's how we have to do it, that's how we have to do it.
Yeah, part of the Aurora's ongoing mission and part of the mission directive, actually, which I think is in a handout somewhere, is that every 20 or so light years, when you're in uncharted or space without a subspace relay, you're dropping subspace relays to increase the network, which is kind of standard for all of the Starfleet Exploratory Division ships.
Speaking of, would this be a system that we'd want to drop one in?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you want to. This would be a good place to drop one because they're off the grid a bit, as it were, from the Federation's perspective. When I'm saying that,
Oh. We are somewhat distant from Federation space. This might be a good place to set up a comms relay if the captain were able to position ourselves diplomatically.
First, I believe we would have to deal with this negotiation. Or
Of course.
Yeah, if you're wanting to drop it in an inhabited system, you'd of course have to get the permission of. Right.
Well,
I mean, fundamentally, you've got there's each of these subspace relays has about a 22 light year range, so you're trying to drop one every 20 light years. So it can be dropped in deep space or in a system or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
How I kind of feel about the subspace stuff is that we have like a grid where Starfleet wants us to drop them, and it's something that happens between episodes because it's really like, okay, beam it into space, guys, turn it on.
Well, in this area, it's more like you're deploying it from the shuttle bays and drop bays.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we need to drop one in a specific system if, like, let's say where we need to place it anyway is a light year away.
Yeah, until and unless I need it as an adventure hook.
Yeah.
It's just kind of assumed you've been dropping it every 20 light years as needed. Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, though, I'll ask the commander to tell the ambassador about the meeting and see if she needs see her and her attaché need anything.
Aye, sir.
GM.
Hmm.
I want to specifically, because I assume this is stuff that's in the records. I want to look into this rebel attack on Yorella.
Okay.
Because there's a specific bit of language. The staff of the cartel leapt into action and beat them off handily before the
Okay.
guests and the monarch even realized what was going on.
Right. Okay, so give me a
Something fishy about that.
control science difficulty 2.
Oh, okay.
Now, you guys remember you do have a supporting science officer, which is actually it's Richardson, who is actually fully statted out, since we don't have a PC. But so if you want to use him for any kind of that stuff, he's right there. Feel free. I
How many
think
jacks do we have?
let me double check, make sure everyone has access to him. Yeah, all players should have him in your journals and can control him. If not, let me know.
I'm headed over to the ambassador's quarters.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Hear you now.
Okay, that was weird. I broke up for a minute. Did you say it was reason science?
Yeah, and like I said, you do have a supporting science officer who's fully statted out, Richardson. If you
Do you guys mind?
That's what they're here for.
Okay. Have we used Richardson before?
He's actually fully statted out, so while he will count, he's not really going to count against your crew support because he's statted out as a full player character.
I see. Neat.
I thought as a science officer, since you don't have a PC, it'd be good to have a fully statted person there.
I see. Okay. Ooh, wow. It is coming down out there.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend the third die. Would research as a focus apply?
Yes, definitely. So are you giving me a threat, or are you spending the momentum?
Spending the momentum we've got because he has cautious.
Yep, computer science ship.
Hot damn, and I'm gonna re-roll that 0. Hot damn.
Sorry, what am I rolling? I'll roll for the ship, or somebody else got it.
Okay. So yeah, you gain 2 momentum.
So yeah, I'll be like, "Hey Richardson, would you take a look at this?" Oh yes, of course, Chief Osborne.
All right, let me send you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, everybody went dead quiet there for a moment.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
GM's sending out a thing.
I'm sending a message to the science officer.
Well, or to the security officer operating the science officer.
Right.
Who will then say, "Hey, Chief, look at this."
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like, Chief, look at this. He's gonna show the chief that Chief's gonna go like, "Oh my God, Captain, look at this."
And Q would be like, "Oh my me."
Ambassador, look at this.
Oh my.
Which is funny because I don't even know what we're looking at.
I don't know, but we're looking at something fancy.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
So excuse any misspellings.
Hmm. Any records about, because it just says, and got their asses quickly handed to them by the Orions. Is there anything on how they drove them off?
Mostly disruptor fire.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. It's one of those, he's trying to find a hole in it, but I guess, this does look legit. Hmm. What am I missing?
There you go. There's a little more. And while you're reading that, we'll switch to
Okay.
Baker and the ambassador's quarters.
Right.
Here.
Oh god, it's blurry. Okay, it's
Guest
loaded.
quarters. Where's the? There it is. VIP suite is what I want. There you go.
Right.
But
I chimed the door.
enter.
Hello. Is the ambassador in?
Of course, Commander. Go right in.
Thank you. Ambassador Terai.
Ah, Commander Bryce. Please sit down.
Thank you. Then.
Great one.
It appears that we have established contact with with a cartel that also appears to be involved in these peace talks.
Yes, I had understood that the Orions were providing security.
Yes, that's what they told us as well. We're all in an equally, or we're all equally distant, or all four ships are equally distant from each other, orbiting the planet, and we are preparing an away team to help to escort you down onto the surface.
Excellent. I understand quarters have been prepared for myself and my staff on the base below.
Yes, I would, or I would like to know if everything is to your satisfaction.
Of course, once we are settled in, as humans say, we will, of course, contact you, the Aurora if we find ourselves in need of anything that our host cannot provide.
Yes, I am to. Yep. Well, you know where to find me when you are prepared, and we'll get these peace talks underway. Hopefully, it all goes well.
Indeed.
Yeah, don't forget the party. That is all, Ambassador, for seat.
Thank you, Commander. Alrighty. You
It
head back
appears
up.
they already have quarters. So
How do you mean?
it was connected to her office there was connected to a personal quarters.
Yeah, the new secondary hall includes a ambassadorial / VIP and guest quarters.
Right. So didn't really need to make sure she had everything. Got everything.
It's the personal touch.
That's right.
She's also Vulcan. They're pretty utilitarian.
So, yeah, that's going to be a. I'm going to call that control science. Just Diff 1, assisted by the ship's computer science.
For whom?
Sorry, for Osborne. He's the check he's wanting to do.
Oh, what am I rolling?
Control science, you can use research as a focus, assisted by computer science, because basically you're just looking up what information there is on the Svezna's.
Okay.
Svena's, yeah.
Okay, gonna buy a third die with momentum.
Okie dokie.
Did that? Hang on, gonna give that a few seconds to see. There we go.
Okay, so 2 momentum gained, 3 momentum gained.
And the ship.
Ship got gave you the. Oh no, you were re-rolling. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
What ship need?
Computer science again, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I pressed the button, nothing of it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's laggy today.
Yeah.
Lots of people. So yeah, I'm just, instead of typing it up for you. No, not really. For the most part, their events and the things they've done have gone off without a hitch. They don't make a habit of going into war zones, or places where there's unrest. So from everything
Interesting.
that's on the available records, yeah, it looks like they are pretty what appears from what you know about it anyway to be a fairly profitable, well-regarded business.
All right.
Expensive,
Thank you.
but well-regarded.
And
Yeah, I mean,
and
these guys aren't doing things for like somebody's niece's wedding or anything. It's all, heads of government, major
yes.
interplanetary corporations, stuff like that.
Oh yes. So Osborne's gonna walk back around over to the captain. And he said, "Well, Captain, Richardson and I have done a little bit of digging, and I still can't find anything. I'm starting to wonder if maybe these Orions really are above board."
And I'm guessing they have nothing but glowing recommendations from all their clients.
Indeed, and it's those glowing recommendations that still have me a little concerned. I could almost say their record seems a little too clean, if you ask me.
So suspicious.
Too perfect, huh?
Hmm?
Well,
Commander?
too perfect, huh?
It's too good to be true. 9 times out of 10, it is.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I'd say let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's ultimately the captain's call.
Well, we're gonna be going down to this party before the actual talk. I think we might have to employ an old tactic of divide and conquer.
Oh,
How do you figure, Captain?
I think I have struck up some type of rapport with the Orion member. I think I will continue that when we get down to the planet or to the facility. Commander, if you will take what the name of the reptilians? Who are they?
I
Oh,
believe it's the Incalians.
yeah,
yeah, I'm
the
trying.
Incalians.
If you can speak with the Incalian delegation, learn about what brought them to the peace talks in the first place, learn more about their species, what kind of people they're like.
Yes,
And
sir.
I still have a. I've been, and I assume Osborne got these from Merrick when he went over to her. He got those security codes to talk with the one of the Orion folks. I forget
Yeah,
who
yeah,
specifically
yeah.
the GM said.
Yeah, so you've got the communications codes to contact a uh, Dizrock.
Dizrock. Does it explain who that is specifically? Like what their job is and why I should want to talk to them?
I think she said that he was the head of security.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have communication codes to talk with their chief of security, so one security chief to another, maybe I'll figure something out.
Sounds like you have a date, Chief.
Lovely.
Lieutenant Commander Harrison, if you will then please if I would look in the right chat, maybe this would be easy. Alright, so the commander's taking the Ancalians. So if Lieutenant Commander, if you would take the Shenalians. No idea if I'm saying that.
Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah, he's BRB'd. Harrison is the doctor. Yeah, you definitely want him to be on the Shenalians since they are very humanoid except for a vestigial dew claw on their upper wrists.
Yep, that's his orders.
So Harrison, the captain, has just ordered you tonight to kind of talk with and see what you can learn from the Shenalian delegation at the party. They are except for a vestigial dew claw on their upper wrist, they are otherwise appear human.
Yeah, send the person that doesn't trust aliens to get information from them. Nothing could go wrong.
They're the most humanoid.
Yeah, there's a reason he didn't send you to talk to the lizard people.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He knows they're not humans.
Ambassador Turai to Captain Vogel.
Go ahead, Ambassador.
Captain, my delegation and I are packed and ready to go down to Peace Base in order to assume our quarters before the evening's festivities. I would very much appreciate some time to get settled in and to see if the facilities have all the equipment and so forth that we require. If you could provide a shuttlecraft to take us down, the shuttle pod to take us down, I would be most appreciative.
The shuttle pods are standing by, Ambassador.
Thank you, Captain. Turai out.
Well, everyone, I think it's time to put on our best uniforms.
You've got several hours before the party. The Peace Base is like there's a central dome connected with, well, let me see. I think I actually have if you look in handouts,
That was a nice way of saying I need to get my uniform ready because I never wear the blasted thing.
fair enough. Yeah, you have kind of a rendering of Peace Station in your handouts. This was about the closest thing I could find. The primary difference is that can everybody see that?
We have 4 things in there, and none of them say P space.
Okay.
Oh, there we
P
go.
should be able to see it now.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Okay. The primary difference
Look at
being, so you've got this central area and then 3 domes connected to it. The difference from the drawing is the shuttle pads are connected, spring out from the 3 different three subsidiary domes rather than from between them. So each dome has been environmentally altered to be kind of the best habitat and temperature and all that for the assigned species. And the central area is where all the meeting rooms and the main negotiating room and halls and the common kind of spaces will be.
That kind of reminds me of Moonbase Alpha from Space 1999.
It sort of is. It's from like a web series, I think. They have like a base like this on the moon and a base that looks just like it underwater. So I don't know. I haven't ever watched it, but my graphic design capabilities wasn't up to the task of doing it, so I freely stole this. So, but that's the basic idea. So, there is a central landing port, but you definitely don't have access to that port. The only docking port that you've been given access to by the Orions is the one connected to the Vulcan habitat.
I will be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will say best uniforms, everyone, and I will go and prepare mine. And it's basically letting the crew know that I expect them to be in dress.
Right.
Or, well, for those of us who don't have dress,
I have to get mine out of the box.
business casual.
Well, everyone has a dress uniform, even the enlisted.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, every military organization has a dress uniform.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So yeah.
Harrison's heading back to deck 5 to his quarters, and he's going to do some research on
I'm back.
Shanann and Killian biology, as well as unpack his uniform.
Okay.
And we have a new engineer, right?
Yes, Lieutenant Commander Olos.
I will say the blue boy.
I will stop off in engineering on the way back to my quarters.
Alrighty. Just a sec here. Yeah, your dress uniforms, I'll put it in the Discord. It's like that, except the shoulders are completely colored in with the division colors. Okay, so let's go to...
where?
In Discord.
Oh, in Discord. I was like, where's this? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Archer's uniform when he gave a speech.
Yeah, they've got the. Love it. They've got like the lapels.
All right, so main engineering.
The hell was that?
Don't worry about it.
All right, so Olos is standing over his desk, looking at a pad and typing some stuff in, as you do.
We're all in our dress uniforms.
Commander Olos, how's the engines running?
Everything seems to be going well.
It's good to hear. How are you settling in?
Different than an Andorian vessel, but I think I can make it work.
It's good to hear. Good to hear. Just wanted to come down and invite you to a reception at Peace Rock tonight.
Can't really turn down an invitation from the captain to hear a Vulcan talk, can I?
Sorry, I'm just laughing at that. It'll be a good opportunity to meet the parties in this peace talk.
Yes, it would. Noted, Captain. I look forward to it.
Excellent. Don't forget, I expect best dress for this occasion.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'll see you at 1900 hours in the shuttle.
I'll be there at 1845.
And that captain will walk out.
Alrighty. Anything? Okay, so the doctor's going to be doing some research on the physiology of both species. They did, you all have access to the database that was sent from.
Everybody, I'm so excited.
Somebody's very excited.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Two.
I'm gonna do some research into the species I'm to be mingling with.
Okay. Whoops, wrong screen. Just rest here for a minute while we're doing all this. So yeah, okay. Since everybody's several people are looking into this, I'll give you the highlights here. Physiologically, the Shilneans are. I have to look at what I sent. There we are, it's in the refresher. So, the Shilneans evolved on 53 Aquarii B2, second planet around one of the stars. They call their sun Halion. They call their native planet Shilos. Class M, very similar to Earth. The Shilneans are very similar to humans, but physiologically and otherwise. Their planet seems to have unified earlier and more quickly in the face of the discovery of the Incalians. There are some basic physiological differences, obviously, between the Shilneans and humans, but nothing that you think would cause you terribly much difficulty in figuring out what goes where and what function this organ serves. The liver-like organ is doing what the human liver does. It's slightly differently shaped and in a different position within the main body cavity, but you're going to be able to tell that that's what's filtering the blood and so on. They seem to have evolved from a primate like humans. As again, like I said, the really only noticeable physiological difference are the vestigial dew claws. They are omnivorous. As for the Incalians, they originate on 53 Aquarii A4, local name Incli. They call their planet Darosh. Their homeworld is larger and denser than Earth, average gravity of 1.6 G. So they're definitely kind of a heavy world species. They evolved from aquatic, well, not just aquatic, amphibious predators, and they are pure carnivores, still preferring to eat their meat very fresh whenever possible. They, now I have a description of them. Yeah, the Incalians are reptiloid bipeds. Their bodies are covered in scute-like scales, which are kind of like crocodile scales, with particularly thick coverings protecting the head, back, and chest. They have 3 fingers and an opposable thumb on each hand, which are also equipped with retractable claws. Their dentition and digestive system are exactly what you would expect to see from a pure carnivore. Think lots of big fangs, and they have an average height of 2.13 meters, about 7 feet tall. These, you think, if you had to do any kind of surgery or invasive procedure, you would definitely need to adjust the power of your laser scalpels and whatnot, because it's going to be hard to cut through their scutes. It is important to note, however, that scutes, unlike scales, kind of float on top of the skin rather than being directly attached, which is why it still allows for a very quick freedom of movement. Internally, you're not terribly familiar with, dealing with pure carnivore species. There's definite differences in their gastrointestinal system. But again, push comes to shove, it'd be a little bit harder than the Incalians, but you think you could, know how to deal with them. Both species are warm-blooded, iron-based blood. So if it came down to it, you might have some difficulties by being unfamiliar with them, but you could treat them if necessary. So what were you looking into, Baker?
Culture.
Culture. All right.
Culture, traditions, stuff like that. I want to know what we're dealing with here.
Okay. That's going to be a little bit more difficult, so I'm going to make you roll for that one. Give me a reason science assisted by the ship's computer science.
Can I use my insight focus on this? Or,
No, this is not really insight as much as doing like pure resource. You're not really trying to figure out how someone is feeling or thinking or doing.
all right. They're like my 2 worst stats. So
And the ship can assist with computers science.
yeah, but the ship hasn't been much help lately.
Well, no hurt, but there is a complication on the board.
Yeah.
You can squash it with 2 momentum if you wish.
Sure.
Okay. So you're not really able to come up with anything. However, you do notice that Lieutenant Merrick has been spending a lot of time. You can tell from the logins of the access record, which you kind of have access to as the XO, that Lieutenant Merrick seems to have spent some considerable time over the last month researching in these cultural databases.
Guess I'll confer with Merrick.
You
Hey,
feel free to
Lieutenant.
roleplay that out if you want.
Hey, Lieutenant, you got anything on the?
They went AFK. I don't know if they're back yet.
The captain will probably be taking about half an hour to. He's got to run someone to work and back, but he's on mobile, so he'll be listening in.
Yeah, I'm still gonna be on voice. I just if I have to roll, someone's gonna have to roll for me.
Understood. So we're just waiting on Prax to get back. Does anybody
The
else?
wonders of Bluetooth.
Anybody else researching or doing anything like that?
Captain will just be looking up the
Can we run
names
a
of the
couple
delegates.
scans on their ship, see what they're capable of?
All right, hang on a second. Captain first.
Captain just gonna be looking up the names of the delegates, names of the Orion cartel, the notable ones, stuff like that.
Okay.
That you could just send me while you're working on the other people.
Okay. So what did you want to look up, Olos?
Have collaboration with engineering, and if no one is Richardson, can we run a scan on their weapons and engines?
Sure, you can definitely run a scan, or have Richardson do it. You can just roll that character. That'll be control science assisted by the ship's sensor science. Difficulty 2.
I miss having improved. I miss having advanced sensors.
Oh dear, where do I roll that at?
Your sensors are top of the line for the era.
So okay, on your character sheet, you'd click on Control under Attributes and then Science under Disciplines. Looking over under Dice Roller, you've got Task Roll. You will always be rolling, well, not always. For most task rolls, you will roll 2 dice. So you want to make sure the 2 is clicked on. Let me look at your foci. I love having the opportunity to say foci. Let's see, for sensors, I don't think you have a. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong character. You're rolling Richardson, right?
Yes, he has sensor operations.
Yeah. So you definitely have focus. So click on yes on focus used. And then you're going to roll at least 2 dice. So click on 2 beside task roll. And then compilation range is going to stay at 1.
Use.
So he has cautious science. So if you spend a momentum to gain a 3rd die, you can re-roll one of your dice because you have cautious. Because you have technical expertise and the ship's computers and sensors are assisting, you'll also be able to re-roll another die, one of which can be the ship's. So what you want to do for your roll, control science.
As a reminder for the momentum, we only have 2 at the moment since
Right.
Merrick wasn't back. Drop it off.
Now, you don't want to put the 2 in the challenge dice. You want to click on the number 2 out beside task roll.
Sheets are a bit weird, so
Yeah.
you gotta focus on the numbers more than where their statement is.
Yeah.
I don't see numbers next to task roll.
Well, the task roll and there's a
So
space.
there'll be 2 rows of numbers. You want to go to the second row.
Yep. I see.
Okay, so do
My
you
bad.
wish to buy an extra die for a point of momentum to have your cautious kick in? You don't have to.
No.
Okay. So then all you do is hit that Star Trek combat symbol, and that should roll the dice. Okay, you're rolling challenge dice. Roll the symbol above that you should have. There you
First
go.
one, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay. You succeed the task. If somebody will roll the ship, we'll see if you gained any momentum. By the way, you're down to 1 momentum currently.
I've got it if nobody else has it. That's computer science.
Yeah. Okay,
Hey.
you gain 2 momentum back.
Have I just
Finally,
relegated to ship rolling?
Finally, our ship helps us.
Right?
It didn't help us when Vogel did it. It helps us when I do it.
All right, so Olos, I'm going to send you a quick direct message on Discord to tell you what you found. That way you can report it like that you would on the show. Let me take just a second while I type it out.
It's the Tereshkova that when I rode for that ship, I never missed. But now it's blown up.
Well, man, this ship is an engineer's dream. It's got a lot of talents that let the engineer do stuff.
Okay.
You have, Cap.
Who are we waiting on right now?
I'm typing up something for the engineer or the science officer who did a scan on the vessels in orbit.
Okay. Lieutenant Merrick,
Yes, Captain. Or Commander.
could you bring me all the data you've collected on our guests, on the delegates?
Of course.
Thank you.
There you go. You should have a direct message from me, Olos.
Ship is an Incalian battleship. Heavy particle beam cannon, spatial torpedoes, deflector shields. About 20 years behind current Starfleet tech. The same goes for the Chenalian ships. The other ship falls into a heavy cruiser class, presumably the Aurorian one. Disruptors, photon torpedoes, shields, lots of storage, cargo, and crew space. A little bit more advanced weapons than what we have at Starfleet.
Reflector shields, and yet the rest of their tech is behind us?
Remember, our deflector shields are Andorian.
Yeah, both the Andorians and the Vulcans had deflector shields when
They're also
Earth was
any
still
technology
aligned.
that they would have increased
yeah,
with would have been weapon technology,
but
since they've
Starfleet
been at war
ships
for
are
500
equipped with,
years.
ours is equipped with ablative armor, isn't it?
No, it's equipped with polarized hull plating. You do have deflector shields, but they don't work as well as because what you're basically you're sticking an Andorian system onto Earth vessel hull, so you get shields, but they don't work as well as purpose built. The next generation of keel up Starfleet vessels will have integrated shield technology. So
Our most
you can't.
reliable tech is still basically what Archer had on the NX-01.
Right. Basically, you do have shields, but only about 5 points worth, and they cost a little bit more power to put up and to repair. There's just been, and the tractor beams are also a little bit more difficult to use. Again, all this is laid out on the documents pinned to the top of the chat on Discord.
Anything involving like instruments of war is probably pretty far advanced in terms of what we have. Theirs is probably better than ours, but their ships are still technologically inferior to ours.
Kind of Frankenstein together at this point.
Yeah.
Theirs are made specifically for theirs, so
Yeah.
probably
Now
closer to
their
what the
their
Andorians would have
weapon systems are more primitive. The Incalian and Chenalians weapon systems are more primitive. They're still using particle beam weapons, which technically phasers are, but it's a whole different thing. However, the way Star Trek Adventures works, the damage weapons do depends a lot more mechanically on the scale of the ships. So, I mean, it's more just flavor text than anything else. The Orion's weapons capabilities are definitely an advanced of the Federation. You know, but again, these are people who trade with, you know, everybody, including Klingons and Romulans and all that good stuff. And you all know that Klingon disruptor torpedo technology is more powerful than Federation standard. So you were wanting to get something from Merrick, I think, Baker.
She's giving me all the stuff I need right now. Private
Okay.
message.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure.
All right. And I'm to observe and speak with the Encalians.
Right, who are the reptiloid, the huge reptiloid heavy worlder species.
You're
Right.
gonna deal with the Gator people.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant. This will do just nicely.
Of course, Commander.
So I take the pad and start reading it several times.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to do before we head into the next scene?
I'm good. because we haven't met up with our folks yet. We haven't met up with our.
The other thing I would do would have a med kit prepped for whatever I would assume would be best for Reptiloid.
Okay. So roll me. So you're trying to, I assume, just in case, prepare a med kit in
Worst
case.
case scenario, I want to have something that is useful for the humans and any other species of Federation, as well as the Reptiloid, since I wouldn't have specifically Reptiloid in my med kit.
Right. Okay. So you're going to want to be able to do at least emergency treatment on humans, Shenalians, potentially an Andorian, Vulcans, and Incalians. Theoretically, even Orions. So give me a, let's call this reason medicine. Difficulty of, we'll stick with a difficulty 2 at base, but I'm going to spend a couple of threat to up that difficulty to 3, since it's so many species.
Of course he is.
There's several that you're not familiar with.
Yeah. Let's see. Pharmacology has a focus.
Definitely.
And I'm going to spend a momentum in order to get a third die.
Okay.
Rolling.
Okay, you can re-roll 1, I think. Do you have cautious?
Taking silence as a no.
Nope, no cautious. Oh, he disconnected. There's back. Back now?
I'm back.
Okay. And the ship can assist with this with computer's medicine.
Chips what?
Computer's medicine.
Difficulty of
Ship's just rolling an assist, so it just rolls 1 die. It's always assumed to have a focus. Okay. So no momentum gained. Looks like there is a complication on the board.
I want to squash it.
Okay.
Do you have cautious medicine?
Huh?
I
I
don't
don't have cautious medicine. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't. This was my first character. I didn't know about. I didn't know what to do with those. So.
It's fair. So okay. You stock your med kit. I mean, you know what'll work on humans. You're fairly up to speed on Andorians and Vulcans because Federation. You think you've gotten what you might need for Incalians and Orions and Bears? Oh my.
I'm as best prepared as I can be.
Yeah. You're very confident you could help anybody on the crew or the Vulcan ambassadors staff. I'll put it to you that way. The rest, yeah, maybe not. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to do before the party?
nope.
Okay. So everybody's still in Theater of the Mind. Let's see if I can select all these tokens I've got on the GM list. There we go. Gotta distribute these guys. So you take a couple shuttle pods down. I think you'll need two to get where you're going. You land at the Vulcan pad. You go in as soon as you cross the airlock threshold into the Vulcan area. Everyone starts sweating. It is hot. It is dry. Commander Olos, it's your antenna just wilt back against your head instinctually. Definitely a Vulcan environment. It's nothing. It's nothing dangerous or anything like that for anyone, but it's not particularly comfortable for non-Vulcans.
If it's a very Vulcan environment, Harrison's going to go to ask if he would like something to help with the heat. That there's medicines that will at least ease his suffering in this situation, since he is from a very cold planet and we are in a very hot room.
Yeah, you can do a little bit for him pharmacologically. I mean, the best thing would be, I mean, he's fine. It's just hot for him. He's not about to fall out or anything.
Uncomfortable, but I'm good. That's established.
So the ambassador and her aides guys exchange pleasantries. You go through the Vulcan quarters complex. Seems very nice. There are native Vulcan plants in pots and stands. The ambassador says to the captain, "It appears that the Orions have done significant research and gone through no little effort to make this environment quite pleasant for us. I must admit to being somewhat surprised. However,
it seems that they have definitely done their research."
And as you go through, there's another set of airlocked doors, like a double door kind of thing, leading out into a long corridor that attaches the Vulcan dome to the primary common dome. On the other side of the second set of doors, there are two Orion guards, and there is like a scanning arch that they are manning. While the guards I have are in that kind of standard Orion, barbarian looking things. These got the actual in the 22nd century equivalent of kind of loose business attire where you could move easily in it, but it's very dressy, very kind of formal. One of them says, "There are no weapons allowed in the common area. If you have any, you can deposit them here, and we'll be able to pick them back up when you return. Please step through the scanner one at a time."
I think that
And
captain would
begrudgingly,
probably go in first.
Osborne will put his phase pistol in the in whatever. What did you say to put it in?
There is a on your side of the security gate. There is basically a box that can be locked with a palm scan. It's kind of the equivalent of a bus station locker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He's gonna put it in there, and that is that, I suppose.
Yep. It beeps and locks. This is thank you.
So is it keyed to my handprint?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's like a thing where you put you put it in, close it, put your handprint down, it reads it, and that's the biological lock. So
Got
Got it.
And this is again on the Vulcan side of this scanning area outside the door.
Because the captain ordered dress uniforms, Harrison didn't bring his weapon and only brought the med kit.
Okay.
Okay, sounds reasonable.
Is everybody going through, or?
Yep. Yeah. The captain would have brought his phaser either, because where are you going to put it on a dress uniform?
Right.
And
So-
the captain will walk through first.
Yep. So you don't feel anything on the scan. You see one of the officers is looking at a screen. The other one's keeping an eye on whoever's stepping through the arch. They as every person steps through, they go, "Thank you very much. Enjoy the party," and so on and so forth. When the doctor steps through, one of them says, "Pardon me, sir. May I see that kit?"
He hands it over. Doesn't look too happy about handing it over to anybody else.
They lay it on a small table, open it up, but they don't take anything out. He takes a hand scanner and runs it over, then closes it back up, and with a smile hands it back to you and says, "Thank you, sir." Our doctor, I presume.
Sure, works fine.
So, yep, you go down a long hallway that's connecting to the central dome. At the other end, well, actually, give me an insight security roll, Osborne, or whoever wants to make one.
I will do that.
Definitely going
Oh,
to.
and we don't have any momentum, do we?
Nope. Spent it.
Great. What's the difficulty?
Difficulty 1.
Difficulty 1? Okay. I'll just leave that as is then. Hang on. Okay. Would investigation or infiltration focuses apply?
No,
Nope.
not really.
But you said controls security? What was
Insight
it?
security.
Insight. That's even better. That's actually my best stat.
Yep. So you gain a momentum. You see about every 5 meters, say 20-meter corridor, there are blast doors, retracted now, of course. But you can tell they serve both a security and a life support function. You've seen these kind of things too.
Likely part of the station's original design.
Right. But just kind of a thing a security officer would notice tromping through. Towards the other end of the corridor, there is another scanning arch with 2 more guards. They don't request that you go through one at a time. They just sort of nod and smile, and both of them are watching monitors as you pass through.
Quick question about those blast doors. If it becomes necessary, would I be able to reason out where the controls for those might be located?
Yes, although these kind of things usually are in case of like explosive decompression, activate automatically. In the case of a security lockdown, you would imagine there is a central control room, probably backed up by an auxiliary control room, is how these things usually work.
Okay. So
probably in the central station, but you didn't really look around the Vulcan area to see. So
okay. Okay. Just in case that becomes relevant.
okay. And then you go through another kind of double airlock thing. There are guards standing on the other side of that as well, and into a large central area in the central dome that has been set up as, you kind of, even in the 22nd century, your prototypical high-end, reception kind of thing. You see the Chenalians up here, kind of clustered in their own, talking to one another. You see the Incalians down below, same kind of cluster. There's a small stage here with svelte and scantily clad women performing some intricate dances.
That sounds
There
about
are
right.
various guards, again, in the kind of business suit kind of thing around the perimeter of the room and at every exit.
I assume from my reckoning that the what was it? I assume by my reckoning that everything seems in order.
What are you asking for?
I don't know.
Be a little bit more specific.
Definitely doing the security thing of looking around the room, seeing if anything seems off, or if looking for suspicious persons.
Okay, give me insight security difficulty 2.
Can I
Okay.
assist
How are you assisting?
with my insight focus?
I think you
Or
were.
my-
How is
or
your
my-
character going to assist in this?
Yeah.
or my combat tactics focus?
It's not mechanically. It's like how
We're
is
not
your
looking for your
character?
yeah, we're not looking for
Yeah. What is your
mechanics, we're
character
looking for
actually
you.
doing?
Yeah.
I'm looking around, checking possible traps or whatever.
Okay, instead of an assist, I'll let you make your own insight security roll.
I'll start. I'll spend a momentum investigation focus, please.
You're not really investigating so much as just kind of, sorting things out.
Fair enough. Okay.
I got nothing.
Oh, and this is a new scene. So, but since I've neglected to do that, I'll let you spend that momentum.
And then I think that momentum immediately goes away.
You had no momentum. Okay, so in that case, I will.
One way or the other, I made the check.
No,
Yeah.
after when he made the check earlier, we gained a momentum. When we started in here, we had no momentum.
Okay, so I'll just ignore that third. In any event, you made the check.
No, that was legit because when we changed scenes, we were put into here, right?
Okay, yeah.
We had no momentum when we started into that part.
Okay. So you gain 1 momentum from this, and then waiting on. Okay, Baker, Baker doesn't notice anything out of the ordinary. Your eyes are. You're somewhat distracted by the smile from this dancer who seems to look right at you. And Osborne, things look pretty legit. Entrances and exits are covered. The guards are definitely, doing that kind of, standard security guard stance with their, their hands are, kind of held together at their waists, and but their eyes are constantly scanning the crowd. You're not seeing everybody in the room on this. There are various. What you've got as far as tokens are representative and the heads of each delegation. There are other Shenalians and Incalians wandering around. There are Orions of both sexes in acting as servers with circulating with cocktails. There are buffet tables set up.
Okay.
Well, all seems in order.
These Orions sure do know how to throw a party.
Yeah, I'll say.
Well, everyone, I think we all know what we're to do. Try to enjoy yourselves.
Only because it's in order, Captain.
Captain.
All the while, Harrison just looks at unease at unease on the entire situation. Doesn't like being in a room with this many aliens.
So Tarai and her aides start kind of making the rounds. And kind of, you see Tarai introducing herself to the Schnalian delegation, while her aides preceded her to either delegation, and then she makes her way down to the Incalians, just kind of making the rounds, as it were. So who's doing what? Oh, and Osborne, you did see this Orion here. Who is
hang on.
Sorry,
Which Orion?
That
one.
Who appears to be kind of making a circuit of each security station. He's kind of, he divides his attention between the guards and the room at large. But he seems to be kind of making a circuit. He'll every once in a while say, you kind of lean in and whisper something to one of the guards, who will nod, and then he kind of makes his way around. Kind of, you would know as the, he's obviously kind of in charge of security in this room. At least he's just kind of making his way from post to post.
Well, when he makes his way, probably either over to this side, over to that guy, or over to here, I'll approach him, but not till then. I'm not immediately gonna. I'll make an effort to actually mingle with some people.
Okay.
And not immediately go for the security guy.
All right. Yep, he's working.
Have some semblance of doing what I'm supposed to.
Okay. What's everybody else up to?
The captain will probably do the same. I'll probably go up to each delegation, introduce myself, the ship.
Okay.
It's gotta, keep my ears open.
I'm gonna wander over between the Incalian dancers, try to ingratiate myself with them.
You're going where now?
Between the Incalian.
Okay.
And the dancers. Kind of hang out by the stage, watch the show.
Yep. So you guys can kind of position yourself wherever you want to be, and you converse with whoever you want to kind of talk to.
Because I don't think
Aurora's trying to get some information from the Shenanigans.
Yeah, because I don't think who I talked to when I entered is here, right?
The female?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start up toward the top of the map with Harrison and the Incalians.
The Incalians are on the bottom of the map.
I'm sorry, the Shenalians.
Yeah.
So the Vulcan is the Vulcan aide Talessa is there. Says, Dr. Harrison, please allow me to introduce you.
If you don't mind, I prefer Commander.
My apologies, Doctor. Change this guy's title. Wow, they have the same name. How did I screw that up? Oh, because I changed it. There we go. Wrong token there. Some of these left over from last time. Grand Minister Rotto, the head of state and head of government for the Shenalian Republic. Foreign Minister Evliali, head negotiator at these talks, Ambassador Zeta, and Foreign Minister Yale's assistant Holly Awen.
Pleasure to make your acquaintances. I hope that these peace talks are at least fruitful in garnering a lasting peace, if not ceasefire.
As do we all, Commander, says Grand Minister Rato. Although the Shenalian Republic, of course, insist on the right of self-defense, our two peoples have been at war for too long. We are all hopeful that these talks will lead to a lasting peace. So Merrick, you just walked up there, and Harrison, both of you guys can give me an insight command roll.
No focus that will help.
Difficulty of 2. It's not going to be super easy.
So I'm just gonna do a straight roll.
Xenolinguistics?
Add increased complication, because this is not necessarily language, body language, so which you don't have as big of a knowledge on.
Okay.
I succeeded anyway.
All right.
Let's spend the momentum.
Okay.
Not bad.
Okay. So when the Grand Minister is going on about, hoping for a lasting peace and the war's been going on too long, you notice Ambassador Zeta looks very pleased with this. I mean, he's the guy speaking, of course, is head of government, so all of these reactions are kind of controlled, if you will. But Zeta looks very, very pleased. Minister Yale, however, her jaw kind of works and her lips tighten, as if she's just kind of, it's subtle, and I don't want you to think she's being overly expressive, but she definitely doesn't like the sound of what the minister is saying. Awen is definitely the youngest of the four, and she's just kind of smiling and just kind of seems a little wide-eyed and delighted to be meeting new people, maybe new species.
Harrison's going to pick up on that and is going to state, Minister, you seem to be at ill ease at this talk. Is there something on your mind?
She kind of cocks an eyebrow at you and says, well, of course, we all hope that these negotiations will prove fruitful and put an end to the current conflict, but I must admit I have my doubts about a lasting peace. And Rato kind of chuckles and says, you must forgive Minister Yale. She tends to have a pessimistic view of our relations with the Incalians. I prefer to think of it as realistic, Grand Minister.
See, we are of the same mind on this.
As
A hostile force so close to you is worrying, and they seem to be more inclined to fighting than talking.
Not necessarily true.
Well, the Incalians are more of a predatorial race, but they've come a long way since their early days, at least from the database.
And Zada Zeta steps in and says, "Yes, yes, of course." He says, "Well, of course, the minister is right to have some reservations. This has been a very terrible, terrible conflict thus far, with many lives lost on both sides. I think we can all agree that both sides' interests would best be served by peaceful negotiations and a resumption of intersystem trade. And my dealings with my opposite numbers on the Incalian side of things lead me to approach this with more than hope, but I believe that we have a reasonable and relatively high percentage of achieving the aims here. I truly do." Yala kind of sniffs and takes a drink of her beverage. Meanwhile, Awen kind of steps in and says to Merrick, "You're an officer on the starship?"
Yes, the communications officer, but
That's incredible. How many planets have you visited?
this would be my second, technically. Well, at least on this voyage.
And as that kind of fades into some just basic general chit chat there, we'll go to the other group down here in the south, the Incalians. So
Okay.
Naeth kind of will be down here. So yeah, Baker, the ambassador, Solak are there. Solak says, Commander, allow me to introduce Synarch Krizox of the Incalian Synarchy. This is War Master Teleth, and there by the stage with the Lieutenant Commander is Legate Maneuvers.
A pleasure to meet
Krizox does kind of a slight bow. "The pleasure is ours."
I give a slightly deeper bow. In return.
"I am hopeful that the ambassador here," and he turned towards Tarai, will be, with her assistance, we can put an end to this war.
That is our hope at Starfleet as well.
"I have read some reports on your vessels. One of the many reasons that we need to put an end to these interminable conflicts between our two species is that it has held our development in the sciences and technology back far longer than they should be reasonable. We don't need to be squabbling over these two solar systems when there's an entire galaxy we could be exploring."
Indeed. Should you join the Federation, you would be, or these technologies would be made available to your people.
Ambassador Tarai steps in and says, "Well, that would be an entirely different set of negotiations." Krizox kind of chuckles and goes, "Indeed. Before anything else, we must make peace with the Shenalians."
Indeed. And what do you propose, Synarch?
"I propose equitable terms. I do not wish to take out any sort of reparations, and as a representative of the Synarchy, we are not looking for anything more than ending the current conflict and building the foundations for future peace, preferably in cooperation, but if not, if they must go their way and we must go ours, fine. But we will not tolerate any Shenalian incursions into our space."
And they won't tolerate any of yours in theirs. Equitable term.
Exactly.
I understand where you're coming from. But wouldn't it be better to trade goods between between your two homeworlds?
Of course. That, of course, would be the ultimate outcome for the good of both our species if we could somehow put aside our differences and work together, but that may be beyond the reach of claws. There is much history there. And Tarai says, on my home planet, we had millennia of internecine warfare, with generations of long-lived people carrying out raids, full-scale wars for generation upon generation, and yet my people were able to put these aside eventually, and not without effort, struggle, and sacrifice, to unify our planet and eventually become part of the Federation. Yes, well, we shall see, Ambassador. As I said, I would be satisfied with an end to the current conflict and a status quo antebellum. That's the universal translator. He doesn't actually speak Latin.
Of course.
Give me an insight command roll, if you would,
Sure thing.
Baker.
Insight command. And I can use my, negotiation focus for this? Focus.
This is actually where you said you had an insight focus.
Yeah,
That's where that really would come into play.
that's more like reading people and stuff like that.
Right, because you're not really negotiating anything here. You know, you're just kind of picking up and having conversations. You're not trying to, yeah. But yeah, you can roll with a focus.
Ooh.
Okay.
Momentum.
So no, you're good. No complications. You're it was difficulty 2, so you made it. During all this, War Master Teleth has just kind of been listening, kind of expressionlessly, occasionally sipping on some sort of clear beverage. You get the sense that she's, she hasn't really expressed any kind of opinion by her face or body language, from what you can tell. But apparently it's just really, she's definitely listening to you and the ambassador and the Synarch very, very closely.
The War Master's listening to this, or?
Yeah, the War Master. The legate is down with Olos by the stage watching the dancers. Yeah.
Okay.
Move these two.
Can I glean what she's feeling from this, or?
No, she's very, very controlled. It just is, she is not attempting whatsoever to enter into the conversation or to, but she's listening intently. She's just, which is kind of unusual in this kind of situation. But she really is just sort of soaking everything in. So, meanwhile, Olos, are you here? Yeah. Olos, you're watching the dancers. Very, very attractive women. Very talented and sensuous dancers. When looming up beside you is this 7-foot-tall reptiloid who kind of leans down. Very attractive figures, if you're into humanoids.
Oh boy.
Well, I thought that was something all species like to share. It was good food, good drinks, and good women.
He kind of he slaps you on the back, which kind of makes you stagger a little bit. You see him. Give me a insight command. Just difficulty 1. This will be an easy spot. You should roll another dice. You should roll 2 anytime you're doing a task.
Bad. Okay.
That was a challenge dice. Yeah. There you go. So you made it. He's a little bit unsteady, like, and he definitely has a rather large beverage in his hand. He says, it is true. There are some basic physiological similarities, and he kind of like gestures his pectoral area, if you know what I mean. Still, I understand. Still, I'd be afraid I might injure them, but I understand their effect on you and the human species are quite profound, or can be.
We are known to be a little impulsive, given the right circumstances.
Well, it seems that there are circumstances right enough in front of you as it is today. What is your...
But there is no Andorian ale.
Don't be too sure. I'd not be surprised if these Orions don't have a bottle of it stashed somewhere. After all, they managed to come up with Kalian Kisnak. And he kind of looks at the glass and takes a big swig of it.
I haven't had the pleasure.
Ha! I'm not sure it's safe for your metabolism.
Our metabolisms are very high. And our own ale, if you've never had it, it's quite a treat.
I would be delighted to try some. So, what is your position on this Federation starship?
I've weaseled my way into a chief engineer spot, which is interesting on a ship full of pinkins.
Ah, I see.
Interestingly enough, the Vulcans and my own people were nearly at blows, but 2 decades ago. It says you don't have to like each other, you just have to learn to work together.
He kind of backs up and wags a finger in your face. I see what you're doing. Oh, very canny of you. Who would think an engineer would also make a diplomat?
I'm gonna give him a big smile.
He kind of frowns and rears back, and you see his lips kind of begin to pull away, and then he shakes his teeth and goes, "Ah, yes, the briefing. It's not a threat display. Forgive me."
I'll put my hands up, sort of apologetically, and tell him I mean no harm.
Of course. Sorry, I'm a bit the worse for wear. I did not sleep so well last night. So, you and your people in the Vulcans, you've managed to put aside your differences to work together in this federation of yours.
We found a good middle ground between the mediators. The humans are actually quite persuasive. Made enemies with someone who has spilled blood on the ice for you.
And your opinion of these Vulcans' abilities to see us two warring peoples through to peace?
There's 2 things I know for sure about Vulcans. They love to talk, and they keep their word. Now.
Now, eh?
The wounds are slow to heal, but do mend.
I understand. There have been wounds enough between our two peoples over the years. And really, at this point, the Shenalians should be smart enough to come to an agreement.
It's unwise to make enemies of your closest neighbors.
Well, that goes back to my grandfather's 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 day. But today, she has given us the upper hand.
You mean the War Master?
Indeed. Didn't they tell you?
Of course. Lean my antenna in a little closer to him, give him my full attention.
Teleth is the kind of war master that comes along only once in a couple of generations. Brilliant tactician, better strategist, and her logistical ability defies description. The Chileans are only at the table because of her. Why, it was less than 2 months ago that she wiped out their main battle fleet. And by wiped out, I mean, I don't think a single ship escaped. So you see, we were right at the point of being able to crush them. But then the Synarchs decided to sue for peace for whatever reasons. I, of course, am just a humble servant. But right now, we're in the best position we've been in centuries. So, if your ambassador does not manage to bring this off, well, I think we can settle things on our own soon enough. And he kind of wanders away. All right. Oh, excuse me just a second. I have to take a quick bio break. Be right back.
Sure thing.
The things you could learn over a bottle of Endorian ale.
Right?
Or whatever the Ancalian was drinking. Oh, this is not. Oh, yeah. Peace talks better work. Otherwise, we're going to be in the middle of a big old fight.
It almost seems like they want the war to continue. At least
Yeah.
two factions do. Or two parties.
Now,
Oh,
all
their
we know
head
is that the
diplomat.
Ancalians are more likely to want to fight again than go through with peace talks.
Said that their
The
leadership
Chileans
was
seem to want peace.
pursuing for peace, but it's their War Master, who I'm assuming is their supreme commander, is the one who'd like to keep it going. So we could be even looking at a potential coup.
It's the old song and dance. Politicians want peace, soldiers want war.
It's generally the other way around.
Yes, but dramatizations usually paint it the other way.
Yeah.
All right. So meanwhile, we'll go over to Osborne and Dizrock. Let me put his name up.
Pardon me, if I may have a moment of your time.
He kind of looks annoyed, like you're interrupting him, just for a second, and then he puts on a says, "Of course. How may I help you, sir? You are one of the Federation people, not?"
Yes, are you Dizrock?
He kind of gives you just a bit of a side eye. I am, and you are.
My name is. Oh god, I coughed. Yeah. My name is Walter Osborne. I'm in charge of security on the Federation starship.
Ah, of course. Jevy told me you would be getting in touch. I'm Dizrock, head of security for the... I wish I could have named them something that I could remember off the top of my head. The Svezna Event and Entertainment Services Cartel. And he holds out his hand. He's a pretty massive guy. I mean, you know,
Yes.
Within the humanoid range, not like huge like the Incalians, but definitely well muscled.
Yes, I apologize for interrupting you while you're working and while I'm supposed to be in the middle of enjoying myself, and he motions to the, gathering behind him. But I thought I'd introduce myself as a professional courtesy.
Of course, and I'm sure you have some questions for me as well. to speak with
Yes, I've been looking over. I've been looking over your records, and I'm very impressed. You have all done good work.
you. As well, our reputation is how we get hired and continue to feed ourselves and our family. We take our
Yes, although I have to say,
very seriously.
Yes, although I have to say, I'm rather surprised that you would take on a job like this. It's been from what I gather, it's been a while since you've taken on a job in what is almost essentially an active war zone.
Well, let's just say that both sides exceeded our expectations when it came to compensation for our services. Plus, they needed a third party to come in and refurbish and reactivate this base. It lain dormant for some 80 years, and neither side could trust the other to come in and get it back up into working order. So, as the Svina cartel provides all services from security to food preparation to service to domestic
So you
works.
also had an engineering team that came in and reactivated the base?
Of course. We have been here. Under contract for most of half of a standard year.
Very impressive.
Well, very lucrative as well. But as I said, we take our jobs and reputation seriously. Sure, you know that my people do not have sometimes the best reputation. You must believe me when I tell you that not all of us are slavers and pirates. There's more than enough to be made in legitimate business, particularly when it comes to these kind of affairs.
I'm assuming it's time for an insight check.
Sure.
So this guy's.
What are you trying to determine?
Especially when he was like, well, not all of us are slavers and pirates and,
Right.
outlaws. And, I'm trying to see if when he says that, if he's, trying to hold back in terms of like, oh, but I really am doing something.
Right, okay. So, yeah, insight security too.
Insight security, we don't have any momentum, because of course we don't. Interrogation focus?
Sure.
Yeah. We don't have any momentum, but that's still an okay roll for me.
Okay, so yeah, you got it. Yeah, he seems to be telling the truth as far as you can tell, and in fact, there was even a hint of real, honest distaste when he said, pirates and slavers.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Is there anything I can do to reassure you about our?
As things stand, no. I just figured I would introduce myself and make myself available to you if you need anything from the Federation side of things. After all, I am representative of my Starship Security Department.
Understood. We conduct security sweeps of the Common Dome 3 times a day in accompaniment with the Incalian and Shenalian security officers. You're, of course, welcome to join us on these sweeps. In addition, my men and I conduct random sweeps throughout the day.
If you're so kind as to invite me, I'd be happy to take you up on it.
Of course.
I would never impose.
We will be doing our sweep before the negotiations begin in the morning. I will send the information to your ship.
Very good.
Well then, if there's anything else, please just let me know. I'll be back to my rounds now, and I'll see you in the morning.
Likewise. Have a good evening, Disrock.
He kind of nods and wanders off to the next guard post.
That was way too easy. Oh my god, that was way too easy.
All right, Captain, what are you up to?
Just like I said, just rolling around, meet and greeting all the ambassadors,
Okay.
checking up on the Federation ambassadors. keep my ears open and letting the crew do their work.
Okay. Yep, and the ambassador's kind of floating between, and she appears at some point. She's actually got the heads of state kind of together over in a part of the room, just the three of them talking. You see Yale kind of on the fringes with her aide, and her aide still talking to Merrick. So
I will go and listen in on that conversation.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at Merrick and Harrison and Alwyn, and as Merrick's been talking, suddenly Alwyn, her head kind of cocks, and she goes, "You're not using the universal translator. You're speaking Shenalian. I mean, directly."
Yes.
What? I'm sorry. I'm. That. When did you first start studying our language?
About a month
didn't
ago.
realize. A month. My God, you're perfectly fluent. You even have the idioms right. That's amazing.
It's not about learning a language, it's about acquiring a language. Once you know the syntax, it's fairly easy just by listening on learning a language. As many species do when infants, they acquire a language, when you speak to them in simple forms, and you gradually work up and get more.
Zeta kind of laughs. He goes, "Perhaps some instance, Lieutenant. I'm afraid. I'm afraid if I were to attempt to learn your language, I would be nothing but a tongue-tied fool. I can barely speak my own."
It's all about listening and hearing the proper forms of the speech.
Well, I've been on the front lines of preliminary talks with the Incalians, and as much as I've for months tried to even learn the basics of their language, it has proven to be well beyond me. I can't quite get to that, well, what do they call it? That thing in the back of your throat.
Oh, yes, I'm well aware of it. It's a little bit of a challenge.
Ha! I was using throat lozenges for a week after the. So how many languages do you speak? Says Haley.
All of them.
From Harrison's perspective, he's still getting this getting basic from the translator. Yes.
Yeah, you're understanding everything. You honestly hadn't really realized that Merrick was speaking a language.
Yeah, not until
Right.
his assistant said something.
Right.
Quite a few. Actually, before I joined the ship, I was on a archaeological dig on my homeworld, studying essentially ancient Mayan relics, which has been a dead language for over a millennia.
That's truly impressive, the ambassador says. So are you I thought you were a communications officer, but an archaeologist as well?
I try, yes.
Our Merrick is quite talented. And Harrison just claps her on the shoulder.
Holly says, "Well, I thought you were a military ship."
Our fleet is more exploration and research than an active military or military branch.
But certainly you're armed.
Yes, but only for protection.
Huh. And the ambassador says, "Hopefully one day we'll be able to have exploratory vessels too, with armament for secondary self-defense only instead of pure warships filling our skies."
Well, hopefully it's.
There's a Cation in the room.
Sorry, it's my cat.
Perhaps that time will be soon.
I certainly hope so, the ambassador says. Meanwhile, Holly kind of, seriouses up a little bit. She's been a little bit, young woman, excited about meeting travelers from the stars. And still is, but she gets a little bit more serious at this point. She says, well, like the minister says, it's fine to have hopes, but our history does not bode well for a lasting peace. All due respect, Ambassador.
It took a long time, even on my homeworld. We were at war with each other for pretty much all of our existence up until 100 years ago.
Indeed, says Talessa. And while we have been unified for longer than the humans, it took us millennia to reach that stage. So even a most bloody past can be overcome. And so we'll shift over to the captain and the Synarch and the Grand Minister and the Ambassador. Ah, Captain, says the Ambassador, please join us.
Ambassadors.
Synarch, Grand Minister, Captain Johann Vogel. The Federation places a great deal of trust in its starship captains, and so Captain Vogel must be as much diplomat as he is explorer.
That is very true, Admiral. Or, Ambassador.
Admiral? Well, we hope that by inviting the Federation into our talks, that you will help us see past some of the history and blind spots that, and he kind of half bows to the Grand Minister, that perhaps both of our species are guilty of. Oh, indeed, indeed. I think our histories weigh us down like chains. But as long as we are both willing to be reasonable and engage in open and honest discussions, I think we can hopefully achieve something notable here. I'm happy to hear you say so, Grand Minister, and I can assure you the other Synarchs would be as well.
Well, if there's anything that we can do to help facilitate peace among nations.
The Grand Minister nods to you and says, well, thank you, Captain. I believe by transporting the ambassador and her team here, you have already done a great deal. Yes, the captain and the Aurora will be staying in system for at least the next 2 standard weeks until the USS Carolina arrives to take over. The captain has been good enough to stay for support, although I must say the Orion's hospitality and environmental manipulations have been quite impressive. I certainly was not expecting to feel so at home. Indeed, says Chrysox. The environment is just like my boyhood home on, he names a continent. The gravity is perfect, air, temperature, everything. Even native plants have been placed in a pleasing arrangement. They're proving to be worth every centime we pay them. Prime Minister Rato says, true. I too have been pleased with our accommodations and with the level of security.
Yes, if everything goes as smoothly as is starting to, we might have to take some notes from this Orion cartel. Surely there might be some things we can borrow from there in our own negotiations.
Indeed. They have put much work into this facility. So, and the evening kind of progresses. Is there anything else particularly someone wants to do, or someone they particularly want to talk to before we move along to the next scene?
Not at this party.
Yes, for me, yes.
Okay.
I would like to make my way over near the captain and kind of that I do find not the entire dubious, but the War Master has my suspicion.
Okay. So what are you doing exactly?
I want to talk to the captain.
Okay.
Just kind of inform them that I don't exactly trust War Master Teleth.
If you'll excuse me, ambassadors, I think one of my crew members might need to make if you'll excuse me.
They all say, of course, of course.
Have you learned something interesting, Commander?
The comments made to me by their legate struck me as a little odd.
And I'll motion to a corner so that we can talk away from prying.
Right. This main room actually has several kind of alcove-like spaces that seem, with benches running around that seem almost, purpose designed for like side meetings and conversations and what.
Yeah, we'll go to one of those.
Okay.
I'm assuming Harrison would see the captain moving off on his own with Olaf.
Yep.
He would also go to the captain to give his opinion on the shenanigans.
Okay.
He would offer the if you'll excuse me, I need to speak with my captain, and he would leave Merrick with them.
Right.
So, commanders, what have you found out?
Legate has mentioned to me a recent military victory that leaves them in a good position where they don't necessarily sue for peace. It's their government which is seeking it, not their military per se.
I suppose I could understand that. Glory in battle and such.
They already seem to have some sort of contingency plan if this seems to go south. It's worth it just to keep an eye on them, though I believe their government's intentions are fairly pure.
Has there been any indication that they might try to continue this war regardless of what is done here?
I can't tell if their soldiers are loyal to their people or to their leaders. This isn't the Andorian Imperial Guard we're talking about.
Over the next couple of days, why don't you try to learn more from your
This should be doable. We both seem to enjoy a good drink.
You have my permission to forego my no alcohol policy.
Noted. Thank you, Captain.
Commander Harrison, what about the Shaleens?
My opinion on the Grand Minister and the Ambassador, they seem to want peace, but the other minister, she seems at ill ease in this situation. She doesn't trust the Encalians. So it would appear that the governments are definitely seeking peace. Whether or not their military is also chomping at the bit to go back to fighting, I can't say.
At the very least, it seems our leaders are eager to put an end to this conflict. As for the military, hopefully they follow the orders of their civilian government.
Okay. Anything else anybody wants to do?
For Harrison.
No, I'm gonna hang around with the with my assigned task of mingling with the Incalians.
Anybody you want to speak to in particular?
I'll speak with the War Master this time around.
Okay. She is standing there, pretty much kind of, not really engaging in the party, sipping on whatever's in her glass.
You seem pensive, War Master.
She kind of slowly turns to look down on you, and she goes, "Ah, you are one of the humans." And she kind of looks you up and down, and
Yes.
tilts her head to kind of take in the pips on your on the breast. And she says, "I believe that rank is Commander?"
That's correct, War Master.
A pleasure, Commander.
Likewise.
I do not know that I am pensive so much as completely out of my place.
I can understand that. I mean, you're a soldier, and this is a peace talk.
It's not so much the talks as the festivities. I have perhaps never been as comfortable in crowds as I should have been. I would go so far as to say that it was very useful within my studies, but upon attaining higher rank, myself forced to attend more and more such functions.
The things we do for our job.
Exactly. And yourself, Commander, how long have you been in service?
A long time. I mean, Starfleet itself has been around for decades at this point, but as an exploratory force, we've only recently achieved Warp 5. So we're starting to build outwards from our comfort zone, I suppose you'd say.
Well,
it took a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to bring together the Vulcan, Tellarites, humans, and Andorians, found the Federation.
Well, perhaps your people's experience with multiple cultures, some of whom, as I understand it at least, were in conflict for many years before your union. Perhaps that experience will serve our system and our people well.
That is our hope as well. We're not asking you to give up your culture at all. We just want to help you put into war that your species hopefully come together in peace and brotherhood.
That is for the Synarch to decide. As you say, I am a soldier. My skills lie in entirely different areas of politics.
Yeah, but look at it this way. You don't, just because if these peace talks work out, just because you if you end up allying or at least having an armistice with the Chileans, doesn't mean that you or your fellow warriors will be useless. There's gods know how many species out there in the galaxy. We're all still exploring, and not all of them are peaceful species. You will always need to have. There will always be need for people like yourself to defend your people and your culture.
Unfortunately, I believe you, Commander.
Sorry?
I said, unfortunately, I believe you are correct, Commander. Would that it were different.
Is that so?
Of course. There's never a soldier born who's seen any actual combat who does not wish in their heart of hearts for an end to war. And yet, to my knowledge at least, no soldier has ever gotten such a wish. Only periods of peace.
Where there are people, there will be conflict. Maybe not full-scale war, but there will be brushes against conflicting powers or under you. Who knows? The galaxy's still new to us. But look forward, or just do not count yourselves as useless after it's over.
Commander, you will forgive me for saying so, but I believe that the last thing I and my command are at this point is useless.
Good. I don't want you to lose heart.
Well, let us hope that the diplomats achieve their aim. My people and I can turn our skills to better pursuits. We ourselves are somewhat behind even your Earth's technology, not to mention that of the Vulcans and Andorians.
Well, as the or as your synarch had said earlier, that will be a discussion for another time. The exchange of technologies and whatnot. For now, the operation or the objective is peace between your two people.
Well, we shall see who does and who does not share that objective. In the end, I will remain ready to serve as needed.
Of course, War Master.
For the moment, I think I can safely slip away and bid you good night. I need to get back to my ship.
Yes,
if you'll excuse me. She
have a
heads
good
off
night.
towards the Incalian entrance exit. Okay. Unless there are any objections, I'm going to go ahead and change scenes to the next morning. Everybody good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Let me see.
Anybody else? I guess that means we're good.
Okay. Let me see if I can just... So we will switch to the next morning. I'm assuming anybody wants to do Osborne go down or Osborne down, etc.
Well, did anything come up of our request to hang on, who were they? Did anything come
Urellans?
of yeah. The Urella.
Yeah. Yeah, you got back a reply. It's a glowing recommendation from the Urellan monarch's government. Extolling not only the service, and I mean this was a while. This was in the beginning of this company, so we're talking close to 80 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That all the records and personal journals from the time show that that not only was the service and entertainment's exquisite and the food perfect, but that also when the treacherous rebels tried, a surprise attack, that the Orions quickly and swiftly, took care of the enemy without letting the wine stop flowing, that kind of thing.
Mm. Okay. I don't want to say that's what I was afraid of, but that's what I was afraid of. Okay. Hold on to your secrets. Your little secrets.
Let's get this set up and we'll start your bit.
I'm just waiting for this all to go, like, completely south.
So the next morning, you make the trek through the Vulcan passage. This is a new scene, by the way, but you got no momentum anyway. And into the main gates, where you are met by Dizrock, who takes you and introduces you to a Chenalian security officer, Kalian security officer, both of whom are more or less grumpy. And then Dizrock, two of the Svezna security, the Chenalian and Kalian, Dizrock starts taking you around the facility to do, with the security sweep kind of thing. So, are you looking for anything in particular? Do you want to make any rolls? Or
who did we? As I assume we would have had a meeting with the captain and everything. Does the captain want me to keep a particular eye on either of the two other security officers while I'm making the sweep?
I'll let you retcon that, Captain. Do you?
Because I assume this is something the captain would have ordered me to do.
Sorry, what was that?
Do you want me to keep a closer eye on either of the two security officers while we're making the sweep? I'm inclined to not be as suspicious of Dizrock after my interaction with him, but based on what I'm hearing from the rest of you guys, it sounds like one of the others might have reason to see this go south.
Yeah, probably. Probably just give them the be on your guard. Watch out for any.
Right, but I'm saying, is there any particular one of the two that you'd rather I keep an eye on?
No, I think your judgment is spot on.
Okay, so mainly I'm going to keep an eye on the Incalian and Shilnean security as we go about our checks. It's sort of one of those things of, I'm gonna trust that the two of them are going to carefully do their job, and I'm going to watch to make sure that they're doing their job.
Okay.
And if they don't, if they do something where like, oh, there could be something hidden there and they didn't bother checking, I can pop in and say, hey, you should check that.
Okay. So Dizrock and his security guys, at this point, no weapons were allowed through, but you were allowed to bring in like scanner. So all of you have security scanners. The equivalent of not tricorders of the day.
Yep.
Disrock and his guys seem to be very thorough. This started about 4:30 in the morning, and the negotiations really aren't cranking up till 8. But they go through every freezer, storage locker, the dry goods stuff, all of the alcoves. They've got.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you are thoroughly impressed by their security sweeping
Thoroughness.
precautions. Right. You do notice, I'm not going to make you roll for this, that Disrock and his guards are very professionally at times, biting back kind of frustration, because with them doing it and the Shilnan and the Incalian, and they're kind of getting in the way, doing their own sweeps and stuff, and everything's taking twice as long. You get kind of the feeling that he's kind of grateful that you're not also demanding to check every single cupboard like they are. But the Shenanigan and Kalian, it's almost like they're constantly trying to one up each other on, their thoroughness, and, looking for looking for the other to make a mistake or to do something shifty or anything. Just, a level of distrust that is.
So that's actually the
evident.
interesting thing, is that while they're looking for the other to pull something, I'm looking for one of them to not do something.
Like to not do a sweep of something you would expect them to.
Yeah, like, that's what I was thinking. It's like, they should have checked that locker.
Okay.
Like that. Well, it sounds like they're keeping an eye out for like the other to pull some kind of obvious treachery.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for one of them to do something wrong by omission.
Okay. So give me an insight security roll. Complication range is going to be 3 because, again, there's a lot of people searching the exact same space and kind of getting in each other's way. And I'm going to let you set the difficulty to kind of indicate how hard you're looking and, all that good stuff.
Okay, give me a moment to think about this. Would investigation focus work?
Yeah, definitely.
And we still don't have any momentum.
Right.
Great.
Sometimes you got to trade in that threat for momentum.
Yep, I'm thinking about it. Would protect the innocent as a value work?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that because that's what you're trying to do.
Yep, and I'll give you. Actually, instead, I'm going to save that determination just in case. I'm going to instead give you 3 threat for 2 extra dice.
Okay.
And save my determination for rerolls.
All right.
And I'm going to set the difficulty at. You said it's insight security.
Right.
I'm going to set the difficulty at 4.
Okay. I am going to give you some of that threat back and up it to 5.
Ooh, lovely. Let's see if I can do this.
Remember, your complication range is 3.
Okay, I am going to spend my determination and re-roll those last 2.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'm counting a total of 7.
7 successes on a difficulty 5. So we get 2 momentum out of that.
Yeah. All right, and I am going to send you something.
Uh-oh. What did I discover?
get it to copy just the part I want to send you. There we go.
Oh no.
And one more thing.
Yep. Hmm. Subspace dampening field. Ooh. Can I get a bead on where the source of that dampening field is? Okay. All right. I'm gonna go over to Dizrock
Okay.
and say, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I need to use the facilities. I'll be right back.
Of course, and he's kind of distracted by one of the shenanigans. Says, "Wait, don't change that setting."
Yes. Okay, Osborne is going to go into. He's gonna find a nice quiet spot.
Yeah.
And take out his communicator.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Osborne, this is Osborne to Aurora. Come in, please.
If the communication comes through, I will answer.
Yes, it comes through.
This is Captain Vogel. Go ahead, Chief.
Captain, I need you to the situation here has changed. I think there might be some danger to there might be some danger to the peace talk.
Can you elaborate on that, Chief?
I think someone might be planning to detonate explosives.
That's a very serious claim, Chief.
I have the security scans to back up my claim.
Do you know who?
No, I do not. That's why I would. Do I have a? I assume I was able to get like a chemical scan of the explosive.
Of what the chemicals actually are.
Yeah.
Okay. The subspace dampening field made that's not automatic. You're going to need to do another scan. It won't be nearly as difficult now that you know it's there and for it.
Okay. I will begin making scans to try to determine the exact nature of the substance, but I'd suggest that you all be on the lookout as well. Whoever did this put up a subspace dampening field in order to keep me from finding it. So whoever's behind this, they want this quiet.
I think we could start trying to do a scan and see if we can't pinpoint who's creating this dampening field. How many devices have you detected?
How many have I detected, GM?
Let's see.
all the message you sent me said is
Right.
incorporated into various points.
Right. Okay, dice roller, will you work now, please? There we go. 11.
11.
Yep. Floors, walls.
I've detected 11 devices that appear to be using some kind of acid. If I had to give any guess, the plan is to detonate the devices, which will then eat away at the walls of the dome, completely decompressing it.
No kill like over.
Well, okay, that's not what these things would do. The way this central meeting thing is, even if even if all the walls and the floor collapsed, the surface is not right outside this room. This is kind of a large central space within the larger dome, so they're not positioned, at least the ones in this main room, because you found this in the primary negotiating room, which was sort of the same kind of space where the party was. It's now been set up with a big kind of round table and all that. It's set up in the one place where all of the delegates from all of the parties would be at the same time at some point during the day.
Got it. In that case, we know exactly when they're we know exactly when they're going to want to set this thing off. So, Captain, I want your opinion. Should I inform the Orion Chief of Security?
Not just yet. I want to do some scans and see if we can't find who's causing this dampening field, because for all we know, this could be the Orions doing it themselves.
Understood. I'll tie my tricorder into my security scanner and try to get you better information from here on the ground. So far, I don't think anyone has realized that I know yet.
Very good. Try to pinpoint the location of all these devices in case we have to take radical action.
Very well, Captain. Osborne out.
Let's get a scan of the system, see if we can't find where this dampening field's coming from.
I can answer that. It's the subspace dampening field is at the point are built into the explosives.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought it was coming from like an external source.
Yep. Each from what I can gather, each explosive has its own little built-in subspace dampening field.
Correct.
All right. Then, knowing that information, probably see whose design this is. Locate the devices and see who designed it.
So I want to crack I want to try using my tricorder and tie the security scanner I got into my tricorder so that the ship is essentially getting a live feed from my security scanner.
Yeah, well, in this area, it's just your hand scanner, and yeah, you can tie it in the ship's computer systems in order to, increase the efficacy and the database count for it.
Mm-hmm. So whoever's on the ship can be looking over my data. One of them might see something that I'm missing.
Okay.
Is what I'm thinking. If they're getting live feed of my scans, one of them might recognize this as something that I don't. But given that I know shit about intelligence, and I return to the security teams and continue looking around.
Okay, so are you going to are you now actively scanning with this thing?
I am going to not immediately do that. I don't want to draw too much attention.
Okay.
I'm going to first scan a couple of, nondescript things.
Okay.
Make it look like I'm just gonna continue going about my job, gonna scan this vein.
Right, okay.
And then scan this table, and then I'm gonna go over and scan the actual thing I care about.
Okay. So when you get over there to make that scan, give me a control security, difficulty 3, but since you're tied into the ship, it can be assisted by the ship's computer's security.
Okay. Investigation focus again.
Sure, I'll allow it.
I'm going to spend a momentum, get a third die.
Okay.
Uh,
Wow, nice. It's like 2 momentum gained thus far.
And the ship.
Okay, so 2 momentum back. Okay, so here is what discover.
I'm concerned.
Let me send you this really quickly. Make sure that reads well.
Oh no. Okay.
And as you're looking over the scan, Disrock kind of walks up behind you and go, "Find something, Chief?"
I think I might have, but I need to go over these numbers a little more just to be sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
I'll need you to share that with me. My signals security people tell me you've linked in with the ship to do these scans. The only reason I could do that is you were needing the extra processing power. Afraid I'm gonna have to insist that you share your information with me. The others
Understood.
are farther away than it looks here. I'll move you guys over here.
Understood. Although, would it be permissible for me to ask my captain for permission? Otherwise, this will have to be under duress.
Please contact your captain.
Well, Captain Osborne takes out his communicator and he says, "Osborne to Aurora."
Go ahead, Chief.
I think I might need permission to. I might need permission to share what I found with Disrock. Keeping him in the dark, I think, is becoming untenable.
Disrock nods beside you.
So, quick question before I answer this.
Okay.
Did we get all the information that we think we need about the devices?
I'll let you in on this now. The information you probably would have gotten does not implicate Disrock or the Orions.
Yeah, and if you want to look from the ship, since the sensors were tied in for this part, I'll send it. I'll post it in the general chat.
Yeah.
In Discord, I mean. Yeah, and the subspace dampening field technology well beyond the technological level of either the Shenalians or Kalians.
Okay. So, what I want to do is I want to send a signal that essentially wipes his scanning device.
Okay.
Potentially without him knowing that he could be like, oh, I don't know what happened. I lost it. Sorry.
Okay. I think this is probably a science officer type. Well,
we have a science officer.
no, this would actually be a more communications officer because you're trying to.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I think this falls way more in Merrick's territory now that I think about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have Merrick mute the communication, tell her to wipe the tricorder,
and then say to Osborne, it's like, we got your results back. It's a negative.
No. So I would basically be, yeah, we got your results. Go ahead and share it, but the tricorder would be wiped.
Okay.
So there's nothing to share.
So,
all right.
Are you
see what I'm getting at?
Are you trying to do it where even Osborne doesn't realize it's happening?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So in that case, Merrick, that's going to be a control engineering, difficulty 4, complication range 2. And I'll spend threat to up that complication range to 2.
Ooh, Jesus.
Well, it's just complication range 2. That's just spending the threat to make it.
Yeah, it's mostly that last part that raises the eyebrows, which is why I want to do this.
Nothing better than practical experience for a determination spend?
Nothing better than practical experience. I don't know that you've ever really done this before to have practical experience. What else you got?
That's the only one that would be close enough.
And here's a question too: Can this technically be a direct?
Sure.
So I can get an assist in here.
Sure. I'll let you use the mission directive, Merrick.
Okay.
Because this is directly related to the security of the ambassador and the success of the mission.
Then take 1 threat and spending 1 momentum.
Okey-dokey.
And the assist for direct is presence command?
Yep.
And would you accept team dynamics for a focus?
Not really in this case.
Right, because that's all I got.
Okay.
I'm assuming subspace communications is not an applicable focus.
Actually, I'll take it because there is a link between the device and the ship, and that would be a subspace data link, communications link. Yeah.
I'm gonna reroll the 0.
Okay. So that's a total of 5, 6 with the captain. So it was difficulty 4. So that's 2 momentum.
Did we need the ship assist?
Oh yeah, ship can assist with computers engineering. Our ship has communications, doesn't it? Comm engineering.
If someone wants to roll for the ship.
Hey.
All right, so that is a total 3 momentum gained.
I will wait for the nod from Merrick, and then I will say, "Go ahead, Chief. You have my."
All right. And Osborne turns to Dizrock and says, "Right here. This is everything that my scanner has picked up." And he hands the scanner over to Dizrock.
And Dizrock starts scrolling through it and goes, "There's nothing on here, Commander or Chief."
What? And the Chief looks through it.
Yeah, there's none of the scans you took of the 2-part chemical explosive, the subspace dampening fields. Nothing's there. There's plenty of scans of vases, tables and cabinet doors, but nothing about the explosives.
Here, and because Osborne sort of figured what's going on here. He points to one of the scans of the vases, and he said, I thought that vase there might have had some poisonous compounds in it set to release as a gas, but the ship scans negated that. It's not what I thought it was.
I see. Very well. Let me know if you do find anything. Remember, I'm as interested in keeping everyone here safe as you are. Maybe even more so. And he kind of gives you a little bit of side eye and enters back to the main group, kind of shaking his head almost as if to say, I thought.
Oh boy. Now, how are we going to disarm these bombs?
I have thoughts on that too.
Very carefully. It's fine. The worst that happens is that we need a new security officer.
Because actually, now that I think about it, if we informed Dizrock, it would send the whole thing into we could potentially play our hand.
Primary thought is to have the engineering crew start working on a way to get past that subspace field generator to get a transporter lock, and then beam them out like right before they're supposed to detonate.
That's a bit risky. I have a better idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just spitballing. Like that. That's just a idea.
But it is an
You
idea.
said engineering, right?
Yeah, I think either way this would be.
Well, I mean, it's an idea that actually uses the transporters, though. My idea is to transport a neutralizing agent into the bombs, because these are acid-based explosives.
Yeah,
well, no one's in direct.
We'd also need to find out the composition of the acid in order to correctly identify the neutralizing agent.
Yeah, well, the bombs aren't a direct threat to anyone right now, are they?
The scans reveal what these are is you've basically got two different chemicals. Actually in the substance of the walls and our floor at various points. So they're separated by the actual materials of the walls or floors themselves, but each of them contains an acid that is slowly, but on a regular, timeable kind of schedule, eating away at the material separating the two chemicals, which are harmless by themselves. But as soon as they interact with each other,
boom,
they produce a noticeable exothermic reaction. So these what you have are basically pockets within the actual structure of the wall. It's almost like the wall plates and floor plates were designed with this already in it. So it's not like something has been a device has been inserted. It's almost built in.
Okay, yeah, that changes everything. We were thinking bomb-like things. These are built into the bloody walls.
Right, and they're slowly eating away at the material at a regular rate.
Wait. Have these things been eating away at the walls for years?
Well,
because if then, that immediately throws suspicion onto whoever called for these peace talks.
We'd have to get a further scan from the ship in order to determine that.
I doubt it's going to be that, because then they would have had to have planned a peace talk years, and they haven't made it to that point. That would take incredible foresight.
Right. You do know when based upon the action of the acid. I mean, all the known materials, chemicals, acids. So the ship can easily figure out the rate of decay. So when they were going to detonate, which was going to be right before lunch on this first full day of negotiations, which is today.
Right. But what I'm thinking of is, can we figure, based on that rate of decay, reverse engineer that and figure out how long ago these things were installed? Because that'll tell us whether or not it was the Orions or not.
Yeah, you could figure that out. You
Yeah.
can't because you don't have that information anymore.
Uh,
So will a
thanks.
ship could.
Thanks, guys.
Oh,
It was either
So,
that or
yeah,
have
maybe
everybody
the
go
cl- the-
Islamic.
the subspace field is Klingon manufactured.
Right.
But if we could figure out which of the groups has the better relationships with the Klingons aside from the Orions, we could figure out which one's got the field.
They wouldn't be trading with anybody. They were at war for the past 80 years.
Right. That's the thing. I don't think either of those groups have any contact with the Klingons, but the Orions would, and that's why I did what I did.
Yeah.
So if it's not the Orions, good, but it's that Klingon part that instantly drew
Just
me
telling
to
us
that.
it could still be the Orions.
Yeah. So I think either way we have to deal with this substance, and I think the best way is to somehow cut into this the subspace field generator, and then just beam the acid out, so that it will not interact with each other, at least inside the complex.
Right, because transporters are only really
not alive.
dangerous. Huh?
They're only dangerous to.
We can use it on
beings,
inanimate
not
objects.
The acid or the
Such as acid.
Right.
Yep.
Or chemical solutions.
Because once the threat's neutralized, then we can start going back and doing some investigative work on when this was installed.
Not to mention, we can also watch for what happens when
it's supposed to happen, yeah, and see who reacts.
Because that's the thing. If we make this so that these bombs won't go off and then just wait and not play our hand,
We could see who gets nervous at the negotiating table.
Huh?
We could get rid of the bombs. We could see who gets nervous or doesn't show up to the negotiation table.
It's not just the bombs. The acid is the main thing we got to get rid of.
Yeah. But when they're there and then they don't go off, someone's going to freak out.
Yeah, so from what I'm gathering, these aren't actually bombs, but they're basically containers built into the walls that are about to combine and cause the explosions.
Yes.
Reaction.
Yeah, a reaction.
Reaction-based explosive. The chemical solutions inside of them have an acid built into the molecular matrix that is slowly eating away at the walls between the two chemicals.
Yeah, so I think moving forward, I think Merrick, had a good idea. Look to see who they've been trading.
I think we should have Richardson see if we can determine how long
and see if they can get a transporter lock on it.
Yeah, so in the meantime, Osborne is essentially going to be running interference on the ground. He's going to be pretending that he has no idea what's going on, and that the crew of the Aurora has this figured.
Okay, so what? Okay, Merrick is looking for the Shilneans and Incalians have been trading with, which he knocks out of the park. 2 momentum gained back.
Jesus, nice.
So I'm just gonna put this out there rather than typing it up, if you don't mind. While they don't have, a lot of trading contacts, they are a warp capable society, thinking about warp 4 as I said. So they have some trading partners. It's, from what you can tell and from the available information, it's kind of localized to this one sector, which makes sense. Not a lot of species did the whole Earth cargo service thing where you had warp 2 freighters going out to all points of the compass. So there's no direct evidence that either side has been trading with the Klingons. but it really is with a roll like that. I mean, it's kind of proving a negative, and there's also that that trade might not necessarily be going on above board if it's happening. So there's no direct evidence for trade by either the Chenalians or the Incalians.
Obviously, they've kind of know this company, this Orion company, so it just seems fishy that they wouldn't have outside trading, or maybe going through some sort of third party, vendor, so to speak.
Oh no, I mean they've been trading with other peoples in this sector of space. There's just no direct evidence that they have been trading Klingons. Now, if that's taking place from with a third party in between, or if it's taking place under the table, there'd be no, you couldn't necessarily do it. But there's no direct trade relations with the Klingon Empire.
Right. I was more looking into like a third party vendor that might be trading with the Klingons.
Oh well, yeah. I mean the both of them have traded with Orions. Both of them have traded with some other species, the Talarians. They've been trading contacts with the Suliban nomadic fleets, any of which could act as a middleman with the Klingons.
So they have the potential to buy this tech.
Yes.
Inside.
Yes. There's just no direct trade relationship with the Klingon Empire. But definitely they are dealing with third parties who know about the Klingon Empire and have done trade with the Klingon Empire. Okay, so it looks like engineering to work on a way to get past the Klingon fuel transporter lock on the acid, beam to a safe location in space. Captain will head back to the talks with security officer. We'll see what happens.
That's what I think the steps going forward, but by all means, if you guys have any more ideas of things you'd like to do in between. But
No,
bullet point, that's what I'm seeing.
I was gonna say that sounds like such a Trek ploy to pull.
Right. So, okay, and you had Osborne had identified 11 different locations of explosives when he decided to come I'm just going to call them explosives. So 11 different points. And you're going to have to beam out all of the liquids and the acid, because it's not like the acid is staying separate from the liquids.
Right. Or really all we need to do is separate out half.
Yes.
Just
in
need to
theory.
take the acid in theory. So the captain will leave this in the commander's capable hands and make my way back to the surface.
Okay.
Harrison
All right,
would go along with
so
them,
the
just in case
first
of
thing
medical
I'm going to
emergency.
need you to do, Olos, what are your ideas on how to do this? This looks like a gated task to me, the way the captain has set it up. So the first thing you're going to need to do is figure out a way to get past the subspace distortion fields in order to get a lock on the materials in the walls.
Now I have exploit engineering flaw.
Okay.
If Harrison were to scan for weaknesses,
That would be
follow
Richardson, not
a
Harrison.
success.
Harrison's
Sorry.
medical.
Yeah, sorry. If Richardson scans and succeeds, then I can exploit a flaw. Hang on, one sec, wording of this.
Right, now I know what you're saying. Unfortunately, that scan for weaknesses is a starship combat maneuver, and you're not really in combat.
Okay, I see.
So mechanically, it doesn't work.
Never mind on that.
So The first thing you've got to do is get past the subspace dampening field. Yeah.
And don't forget, for our engineer, as chief engineer, you have the advantage of an engineering department. I don't know when you'll want to do that. When you'll want to use that advantage for something.
But it basically, with the advantage, you can lower the difficulty, lower the complication range.
Once
Stuff
per
like
scene.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Or at least it's lower the difficulty for a specific sort of thing.
Right.
Like I've had it where like the medical officer who's used that thing, I've had it where like if they're doing a surgery, it can just wholesale lower the complication range of the whole thing.
Right. So it all depends on what kind of tasks we set up for what you want. So what I'm asking you is, what's your step? How are you going to go about figuring out a way to get past the dampening fields, which are in place to keep sensors from being able to easily see these chemicals? And feel free to technobabble your way out.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, you could focus scanner. You could focus scanner points on the points where you know the bombs are. If you were trying to negate a subspace dampening field, but you didn't know where the dampening field was, that'd be a problem. But because you know exactly where they are, you can target them.
Would I be able to replace it with another dampening field so that they don't like switch them out the entire thing?
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you're getting at there.
If the dampening field is like static, he's playing the inverse wave.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, because I'm a nice GM, I'm going to say this out loud. Keep in mind that you've never run a scan of the base from the ship.
We should probably do that before we.
We should do that.
Anything too
Richardson
crazy.
should do that.
I'm pretty sure I ordered that.
I just don't think we ever actually did it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
which would be a standard control science assisted by sensor science.
I'd say give Richardson.
Well, that was for the ships that you failed, Merrick. That you did a scan of the ships. That
yeah, that was the only thing we scanned for when we got here.
Right.
Yeah.
So if nobody else wants to take Richardson, I'll grab him.
Maybe give Richardson some momentum. What's the difficulty?
It's difficulty 2. Control science assisted by sensor science.
Okay. Oh, and he has technical expertise, which
Right.
means he effectively gets 2 rerolls.
Yeah, if he activates cautious.
Yeah. Well, and technical expertise, you can reroll 1d20, which may be the ship's die.
Instead of him directly, since you're going to use
So effectively, he can reroll 2 of his own die.
Okay.
So I'll give Richardson a momentum then.
Okay.
Sensor operations focus.
Okay.
Control science,
and
you
it's
said?
actually going to be a difficulty 4 task.
Ooh. You guys mind if I spend 3 momentum then?
I'm okay with it. Wait, do we have 3 momentum to spend?
Yeah.
I see 2.
Yeah, because he spent the first one to get the
first one already.
I'm spending 2 more because the GM upped the difficulty.
Do you guys mind?
Oh,
That's
this
what
is
it's there
for.
for.
We need this.
Go for it.
Okay.
If
Wow.
Add the ship.
So there's 1 momentum gained back and 3 momentum total gained back. So, yeah, it turns out the entire facility has anti-scanning fields, like basic security fields. You rolled really well, so I'll tell you those are definitely of Orion manufacturer. They are they cover both the living and the central spaces. They seem to be, a reasonable security precaution kind of thing. But you're able to break through that, and you basically can scan the base. You see the life signs, the Chenalians, the Incalians, a bunch of Orions. But you also notice that there is a field covering the central the base as well, beyond the sensor dampeners, that is designed to interfere with transporters.
Yep. So what I'm definitely thinking is I'd target the points where you know the explosives are and do targeted subspace cancellation effectively. Because it'd be harder to negate the whole field. The good news is we know where we want to cancel out the dampening.
Be aware that there is a field that interferes with transporters as well as the sensor masking field.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is yet another dampening field we gotta break.
Yeah, I mean these are definitely Orion fields, and appear to be. There's no attempt to hide these. These appear to be just part of the security arrangements by the Zvena company. There's a basically a privacy field against external scans over the whole base, and then there's a interference field as well to prevent beam ins. So the only transport to and from are via shuttle.
Oh, and if I may make another suggestion, if we're going to be beaming these explosives out, I'd suggest we beam them into safe cargo containers on the transporter pad, because then we're transporting to a pad. As opposed to just site to site. But that's neither here nor there. How do we want to do this?
I think the first question for the GM is it possible to do it the way we're thinking?
If you could either shut down or figure out some way to penetrate through the transporter interference field, then yes. I mean the subspace dampening field.
Around that.
You can technobabble your way, but you also need to make some engineering rolls, because you're going to be adjusting the resonance of the transporter beam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd say that's where we can technobabble we're doing the inverse wave to the subspace harmonic, as long as we can get the live stream of the distortion field.
So that's going to be okay. So let's see. So this first roll is going to see if you can modulate the transporter beams to, circumvent the anti-transport field. So that's going to be a control engineering difficulty 4. If you have transporter focuses or something, they will definitely apply here.
What talents do you have?
The talents that I have are the Ushan. I have cautious, exploit engineering flaw, and jury rig.
Cautious engineering, I assume? Is that the one you went with, cautious engineering?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does jury rig do? I think jury rig is just an extended task related thing. Huh?
Yeah, and it lets you. It's a MacGyver kind of thing. It's not something. Whatever you do is not going to last all that long.
can
Yeah.
temporarily fix something for like
Right.
one scene before I have to go back and repair it for real.
But yeah.
Then it gets harder.
The captain has a good point. You can spend 2 momentum to give you an engineering. Well, you've got chief engineer, so this is where your chief engineer superpower to use an engineering team could come in handy. You could
Okay.
also activate. You have some support crew who are engineers who could support you. Who give you supporting
we could
roles.
also use support crew as an advantage as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's honestly something I suggest doing.
So you could use your engineer superpower for free to lower the difficulty if you wanted to. And then you could spend 2 momentum to activate an engineering team, which you could use to lower it again. Those are just some of your options. You don't have to. Whatever you want to do, it's your role.
That sounds like what I want to go with.
Okay.
And then maybe spend the remaining momentum to buy an extra die for the reroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. That brings your difficulty down to 2. But I'm going to spend 2 more momentum to bring that up to 3.
Or 2 threat, you mean?
Yeah, threat. Sorry.
Okay.
Not used yet to being on this side of the board.
And does the ship help with anything?
Yes, the ship will help with, let's call this computers engineering.
Okay.
I'm rolling control, engineering. We've spent the momentum, and I get three dice.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my god. You just need 1 success. And you can re-roll that 1. So just set it to 1 and roll it 1 more time.
And re-roll that 1.
Ha! So there's 1, 2, 3 momentum gain. So you get all spent back. So yes, you have managed to modify the transporter beam to penetrate the Orion's shielding, anti-transporter interference field, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now this next task, you will need to, this is going to be pinpoint transport. So are you trying to go directly from, are you trying to do this all at once? 2, are you beaming it directly into space? Are you beaming it into containers on a pad, as somebody suggested? What's the plan there?
Once we beam it onto a pad, what's the plan to do with it?
I'm sure that. Yeah, I'm sure the science engineering department can safely dispose of hazardous materials.
Okay, let's do that. Let's bring it on the ship.
Let me just make sure I got this, and don't forget to make sure you're doing this from the transporter room, because that is like a thing that matters.
I actually have a app for that.
Huh?
He has a visual for it.
Have we been doing transporters wrong this entire time?
What do you mean?
Like I think there's a thing related to the transporter room.
Well, because there's the base transporter task, but if you do that in the transporter room, is it reduced by? Have we always been missing that?
Here it is. Hang on, transporter room.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not, if you're pad to pad, it's 2. If you're doing, from pad to no pad, it goes up by 1.
Yeah, no, I understand all that.
Yeah.
Just if you do that in the transporter room, does it reduce the base by 1?
Yeah, there's a thing in here about actually
225.
doing it from the transporter room.
Yeah, it's 225. I got that page open.
I too shall have to.
Here it is, transporter rooms. A character in a transporter room can use the transporter's task, but reduces the difficulty of that task by 1.
Oops. We've only been doing that wrong for 2 years.
Yeah, because the idea is that you can technically operate the transporters from, the bridge or main engineering. But if you're doing it from if you're doing it from the transporter room itself, you have finer control over everything.
Yeah.
That does seem to be how I read it. So
Yeah.
I'll do, just to be sure, after the game, I'll do more research, but that's how I'll. And if it winds up being wrong, I'll let you know.
I mean, I think all GMs have been. If that's the way it's supposed to be,
Right.
every GM has been doing it wrong.
So
Yeah.
So now, Olos, are you going to try and do this all at once? Are you going to do it one at a time?
I think all at once. Reduce the opportunity to be. Reduce the opportunity to be detected.
Okay. So you're doing 11 pinpoint transports into, I'm assuming there's some sort of beaming it into a blast-proof container that's already on the pad.
Yes.
Okay. That's a pretty pain in the ass task right there.
Maybe we. Oh no, it wouldn't be an extended task because we're doing it all at once.
Let's see how long it would take to do it. Or let's see the difficulty for that. But if we have to break it up, we can.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so base 2 reduced by 1 from doing it from the transport.
But we're not transporting it from a pad.
So back up to 2. These are very small targets.
Are we wrapping this up soon? It's been like 4 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to probably make this the last roll of the game. Okay, so this is doing it all at once is going to be, that's going to be a difficulty 5 because this is no small thing. It's also going to be complication range 3.
Take all the momentum and determination you need.
Yeah. What are your values?
Mine or?
Yeah, yours.
Who's doing the roll?
Chief Engineer, Olos. I'm assuming.
I mean, I've got my no one dies on my watch value.
No, this wouldn't be for the first officer. This would be the values of the chief engineer who's making.
Yeah, chief engineer.
I've got best offense is good defense. She'll hold together. Cool under fire. She's not a ship. She's a lady. Non-interference. Would cool under fire help me out here?
I'll allow that because you're
pressure situation.
Pressure situation, and if things go wrong, this could literally blow up in your face.
So I do that, then spend 2 momentum to get a 3rd die.
All right. And that's going to be engineering and...
Control engineering. It'll be assisted by the ship's computers engineering.
Sensors engineering.
Yeah, sensors
engineering, sorry. Be sure and set both yours and the ship's complication range to 3.
You do have 2 rerolls that you can utilize.
I'm at 3 and 3.
All right, and don't forget your superpower.
Oh, do you have a focus?
No, I think he's referring to my chief engineer status with a...
Oh yeah. Difficulty or difficulty, I think.
Yeah. What do you have? Do you have a focus that would apply here, like transporters?
Oh.
Nah, it doesn't look like it.
So you're lowering the difficulty to 4. Okay. I'm going to spend some threat to up the complication range to 4.
Okay, that 0 the ship rolled still isn't a complication.
Or no?
So yeah, complication range 3, and then however many dice you've already got 2 automatic successes.
So roll 3 dice.
3 dice, complication at 4, correct?
Yep.
Correct. And the ship's comp is at 4 too. Well done.
Nice.
Do you want to reroll the ship or no?
No. We got it.
Comp 3 if we have to roll comp 4.
Yeah,
so
comp
that
4.
was...
Sorry, misspoke.
Yep. So
I have to re-roll that.
That's
regardless.
5 successes, and we get a momentum out of it. So
take it.
Yeah, it looks like nothing was higher than a 16, so it's good. Yeah. So yeah, amazingly, at the same time, with sweat running down your Andorian brow, you managed to beam 11 separate points of volatile chemicals into a blast-proof container on the transporter pad. As soon as you do, there's this like almost subsonic thump that you can feel, and the box actually kind of jumps on the transporter pad. And you can see like the sides and top and bottom, they're all like pushed out, like it almost gave way. So yeah,
Well, that box wasn't big enough.
but
Might
you
want
have
to depressurize that.
might want to get those the fuck off the ship.
so yeah, I won't make you roll to transport the box back out to space. The chemicals have already blown. So
Just
yeah,
get out the airlock.
yeah.
Get him out the shuttle bay.
Right. So you've managed to defuse the bombs as it, and also in doing so, you also beamed out the little devices that were causing the dampening fields. So this is we're going to wrap it up because I ran about 5 minutes long. I apologize for that. So we have multiple suspects. Somebody definitely trying to indiscriminately kill a bunch of people at the peace negotiations, which you guys have masterfully thwarted, and but still a big and dangerous mystery to solve next time. So everyone who spent a determination gets a normal milestone.